Hello and welcome to the Top Corner Podcast, episode number 12. Are they really loud in your head? Ears. Sorry about that. We've got the podcast today. We've got so much to cover over the next hour and a half to 2 hours. We've got Manchester City, we've got the Champions League and Europa League, and we have also got a couple of fixtures to look at from around the world and Europe specifically. So lots to cover in such a short space of time. We'll get underway with it in a moment, but we do like the introduction.
Who are we joined by?
We're joined by Kieren and Rowan, the quizmaster, who'll be doing a Champions League quiz later on.
Can't wait for that.
It's going to be very, very exciting. So how are we all doing, boys? You all good?
Ecstatic.
Absolutely perfect. How are you, Kieran? You all right?
I'm not too bad. I had a topsy-turvy week with football this week.
Oh, mine was all right.
I've got to say, yours has been fantastic, hasn't it? A good result against Chelsea.
The best feeling in football is when you win a game that you don't expect to win.
Who was the best midfielder on pitch?
It's been a minute and 15 seconds, and
United
I've already
have
mentioned
been
Man
brought up.
United.
Here we go.
Fred was the best midfielder on the pitch.
We're off on the roll.
I'm
Gareth
just waiting to
Bernaldo.
talk about quality streets.
Gareth Bernaldo's put can't wait for the weekly breakdown.
It's a weekly
roundup.
I know he's got it wrong. He's got it wrong there.
Rowan, at the end, you need to give us the green triangle of the week, I think.
Yeah, of course. I think that should be a new feature. The Quality Street, sponsored by Quality Street, Green Triangle.
Oh, no, genuinely, I'd love to be sponsored by Quality Street.
So we've got a while to go before that.
What brand would you all
Nestle.
Ribena.
Ribena?
Nestle, if you're watching this, sponsor us. So basically...
Ribena blackcurrant flavour.
We've got a lot to cover
Well, that's us
over
getting
the next
copyright strike.
hour and a half. Yeah, that is, isn't it?
Can't get copyright strike for promoting a brand.
We've got a lot to cover over the next hour and a half to 2 hours. There was a massive piece of news that came out. I think it was it Thursday or Friday? It was kind of like a day or two after the podcast regarding Manchester City, which is the first piece of news it's probably worth talking about today. Of course, as you will know from reports around Europe and the world, Manchester City have indeed been banned from European club competition for the next 2 seasons after being found to have committed serious breaches of UEFA clubs' licensing and financial fair play regulations. The reigning Premier League champions, they've been fined €30 million, which is about £25 million. The BBC is saying the decision is subject to appeal to the Court of Arbitration for Sport. Manchester City say they are disappointed but not surprised by the prejudicial decision and will appeal, of course, as expected. It's been reported City could face a Premier League points deduction because the league's FFP rules are similar to that of the Champions League, although that's not exactly the same as UEFA's. The punishment has no implication on the City women's team, so at least they can be a little bit more relaxed than the men's team.
They won 10-1 at the weekend.
Did they? Well, there you go. They might be calling up some of the women's side up for the men's team soon. Manchester City said in a statement, the club has always anticipated the ultimate need to seek out an independent body and process to impartiality, consider the comprehensive body of irrefutable evidence in support of its position. In December 2018, the UEFA chief investigator publicly previewed the outcome and sanction he intended to deliver to Manchester City before any investigation had even begun. The subsequent flawed and consistently leaked UEFA process he oversaw has meant that there was little doubt in the result that he would deliver. The club has formally complained to the UEFA disciplinary body, a complaint which was validated by a CAS ruling. Simply put, this is a case initiated by UEFA, prosecuted by UEFA and judged by UEFA. With this prejudicial process now over, the club will pursue an impartial judgment as quickly as possible and will therefore in the first instance commence proceedings with the Court of Arbitration for Sport at the earliest opportunity. Of course, we know Manchester City, they face Real Madrid in the last 16 of this season's Champions League. That game is going to be played next week. There's been a statement that's come out just in the last hour from Ferran Soriano, which is the Chief Executive Officer of Manchester City. He said, the allegations are not true, they are simply not true. We are looking for an early resolution, obviously through a thorough process and a fair process, so my best hope is that this will be finished before the beginning of the summer, and until then for us, it's business as usual. The fans can be sure of 2 things. The first one is that the allegations are false, and the second is that we will do everything that can be done to prove so. This is just another challenge. We will stick together, we will not go through it, and we will not let the fans down. It is... Yeah, no, 100%. We've already had comments coming from people talking about it, and we'd like to know your opinions as well on the Manchester City ban situation. Basically, what it's very, very surprising with this situation. It came out of nowhere from UEFA. There were leaks a couple of years ago from Der Spiegel, which were from I think it was from a Portuguese source, which the guy was actually arrested for it at the end of the day. Do we feel like this ban is deserved for Manchester City, or do we feel like this is UEFA using Manchester City as a marker?
Depends if it's true. If it's true, then the ban's fine. But to be fair, I'm not Manchester City's biggest fan, but the way that sounds for a man to say already deal out the punishment he was going to deal before an investigation has took place, that makes me think that he already had his mind set on a certain outcome, and he may have decided that's the outcome that's going to be come rain or shine.
Just to let you know as well, if you have heard the volume sound, is the volume sound a little bit better there? I know we had problems last week with the volume sound being a little bit quiet. Hopefully you can hear us a little bit more now. We've got a load of comments that have come in. If you are new to the stream as well, we love your opinion on this show. Send in your comments. Do like and subscribe. Loads of content on the Sports Corner. First of all, Chris Welcher said Manchester City will get banned, otherwise they wouldn't ban them in the first place. Simple as that. Jondra, welcome to the stream. Thank you very much for joining. He says they cheated, got caught, and are learning about it and shitting on UEFA. It's like being a kid and doing something wrong. You get in more trouble for lying than what you did wrong. In 2014, they got in trouble, worked with UEFA, and almost got no punishment.
I'm a bit torn. As I always say, I'm Natalie Imbruglia about it.
Yeah.
I can't tell. For me, it all comes out. We don't know enough.
No.
We don't know enough of the ins and outs. We know what is rumoured to have happened, that they've inflated the sponsorships that, well, basically no one knew where they'd come from. And that is why they ended up, apparently the reason this is happening is because they bought Wilfred Bonney. Well, what a regret that is.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. You know,
Imagine that, the thing that knocked you out of Champions League for 2 seasons because you bought Wilfred
I was
Bonney.
gonna say, Bonney costing you Champions League football 5 years after you signed.
No, but it is this season that makes it make or break for Man City, doesn't it? And Pep Guardiola, I know he's come out and said he wants to stay and Raheem Sterling, but they won't, will he? I think you know as well as I do that he doesn't want to be there after the summer if they're not in the Champions League or they don't win the league.
I mean, he's come out and said he does.
Yeah,
he wants to remain loyal.
He's one of the managers that will come out and say something, and then the next week he'll contradict himself.
It really all depends, though, because, of course, as we know, they are having the appeal to arbitration of sport currently. If you want a little bit more background information to why the ban has come into fruition, basically, UEFA launched an investigation after the German newspaper Der Spiegel published leaked documents in November 2018 alleging City had inflated the value of a sponsorship deal, misleading Europeans' football governing body. Reports allege that City, who have always denied their wrongdoing, deliberately misled UEFA so they could meet the financial fair play rules requiring clubs to break even. City were fined $49 million in 2014 for a breach of regulations previously. It's a very weird one, this one, because you look at it at the end of the day and you think to yourself, of course, this isn't anything to do with the players at all. At the end of the day, the players were brought in and, at the end of the day, they get the results on the pitch.
Yeah.
They have nothing to do with the finances or anything like that. So to say it's to do with the players and that would be very harsh. But it's as you said, we don't know whether it's true or not. It's a situation that will spur on for the next couple of months. Of course, we expected Manchester City straight away to come out and say that they would appeal the ban, which, of course, any club would do. You look at clubs in the past that have been banned or have been fined in the recent couple of years. Fenerbahce were banned for a couple of years. AC Milan were kicked out of the Europa League. Galatasaray have had a ban as well and a fine. But this situation is nothing compared to those. This is a very, very different situation. And as said before, if it is true and they have been working around the system of financial fair play with the UEFA, we could also see potentially a points deduction in the Premier League. Now, of course, we know in this situation they are banned as of right now from the Champions League, which will see 5th place get that Champions League spot and 6th place get Europa League, which means Chrissy Wilder is going to be going on a European tour as it stands. Well, hopefully, as it stands. I mean, Manchester United, for Chelsea,
it just
for
makes
Arsenal,
it makes
it's massive.
Yeah, it makes even Burnley. They're now pretty much back in it.
Yeah,
it just makes the Premier League 4th race, 5th race, 6th race, 7th race a bit more exciting. But it's really lifted the Premier League into a sense of questioning what's actually going to happen, because a team that could finish 5th, say Sheffield United finish 5th, and they think, oh, we're going to get Champions League football here, and then Man City's ban gets overturned. It's a little bit, on the side of caution for them.
Everyone's in a bit of disarray, really, because no one quite knows what quite will happen because they appealed it. But I was talking to someone yesterday, and I was thinking, imagine this situation in the Premier League. Our Champions League representatives next year, Liverpool, Leicester, Sheffield United, and imagine Wolves get up there, and imagine out of nowhere.
Imagine Arsenal won the Europa League or something like that.
So we have a load of mid-table teams representing us in Europe next year. That'd be brilliant.
It's very interesting. One of the comments Chris Wells put in: what punishment should City get if they are banned? Well, the thing is that the punishment's already on the table. It's the £30 million fine and the 2-year ban,
which is nothing for them.
Yeah, they also investigating their 2014 title win as well, and the 2018 one as well.
That's more paper talk, to be honest.
They can't remove it, can
I don't know.
They have the right to be able to move it.
So Liverpool could arguably win 2 titles in 1 year.
They can if they want to.
And Man United could also win a title in
we
2018.
know in the past, it's happened in Serie A before, of course. All those years ago, Juventus and a couple of other clubs, Inter Milan, they were all relegated.
So will the record books change?
But is it due to what Wilfred Boney has done, or is it just due to what Man City have done?
It's due really to what Man City's done. I mean, if it was all down to Wilfred Boney,
if Wilfred Boney got top goal scorer that season when they won league,
he'd be a targeted man. I mean,
it was just that basically the rule is with financial fair play, you spend as much as you earn through sponsors, through shirt sales, through selling players. But what City did was, supposedly, I'm not saying this is true, what they said was they were getting a certain amount of money from a sponsor, but they weren't getting that amount of money from a sponsor.
Were they getting more or less?
Less. But then, obviously, the investment would cover the other half. So say they were getting 20 million, they'd put to UEFA, we're getting 60. They'd be 40 from the owner, and then they'd spend 60 on Kyle Walker, etc., etc.
It's dodgy. Do you know what? It definitely sounds like the Sheffield Wednesday situation with how they sold their stadium to their owner to balance the books.
You guys obviously talked about that on Friday, didn't you?
Yeah, that's. I know it's very different in the context of
anything
things.
changed in that story?
No, that one's going to be one that rumbles on for quite a while as well. They're being investigated.
If they were to go down, it's a big relief because I know me and you were talking before we started about like teams like Luton and Wigan and Stoke. That could potentially keep a team like that up.
100%.
I mean, look at League One because. Was it Bury that are in League One? Bury can't go down. Bolton, obviously, are guaranteed to go down pretty much. Yeah. So that's only like 1 or 2 more relegation spots.
Has Bolton got
available?
off their minus point shot?
Yeah.
Oh, are they?
I think so, yeah.
As far as I'm aware.
11, aren't
they? Chris Walsh said 2014 title stripped. Imagine if you've never seen Gerrard win the league. Alexa said, who do you think would want to manage City when Pep leaves? And don't you think their owners should be stripped of the club?
I don't think Pep will leave. I think Pep will stay.
I think he'll leave. If he wins the Champions League this year, he will leave, I think.
If he wins it. But we had this conversation yesterday, which makes things even more fun. If they win the Champions League, they cannot participate in the UEFA Super Cup.
What happens then? Does it just go to the Europa League winner? This
is tricky because they can't participate in the UEFA Super Cup because it's the UEFA competition. Yeah. So therefore, does that mean it goes to the runner-up of the Champions League? You don't know in that situation.
Well, that's true, but I wonder if it'll work just like the Community Shield does. Do you know, like if when you win the FA Cup, you win the Premier League. The second place team in the Premier League gets it.
I don't know. They've never had this situation before. And to be fair, I don't think City are going to win it. But
they could do though.
There's always a possibility.
We were saying, imagine if the team that wins the Champions League and the team that wins the Europa League both get financial fair play not allowed. It would go down to the second place of each tournament, and it just completely ruins it.
Well, that's the thing. Can you imagine though, the UEFA Super Cup, the winner of the Europa League's got their trophy, and then it's the second place team with no Champions League there because they can't bring the Champions League trophy out because they've not won it. So,
but you can't just hand it to the Europa League team, can you?
To be fair, I did see something funny on Twitter the other day. Someone put a picture of the starting 11 in Man City. Do you know like we do with France, and they put another starting 11 underneath?
Oh yes.
And someone went, who can stop this squad winning the Champions League? Someone replied with financial fair play. To be honest with you.
Do you know what the Man City team will look like? You know, there's Everton drawings where they got the school children a couple of weeks ago.
I'm not being funny, but imagine if they do. Who do you think will jump ship?
I don't think they'll get the ban.
I don't think there'll be many that jump the ship.
You don't think you'll get the
I think
league
they'll appeal it and win.
You think they'll win the Champions League?
I'm going to give you a scenario.
They'll appeal this, and they'll be allowed back in the Champions League, and then all of this will be forgotten about.
Well, we're all waiting because if they've done the Champions League, surely they've frauded the Premier League, which might mean minus points. They could be dropped down leagues.
I don't think that will ever happen.
I think that's just a rumour that everyone wants.
I think that's paper talk. I think a lot of papers are putting things like, Man City can lose their Premier League title, points deductions and that. at the end of the day, papers love talking rubbish.
Yeah.
At the end of the day,
they're putting the most extreme cases.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
They would have had to have broke every rule under the sun to go back down to League Two. Look at
100%.
Rangers went down because they were going bankrupt.
Yeah.
City are not going bankrupt, believe you me.
The whole concept of Manchester City losing the title can happen. It happened before. Inter Milan lost their title a couple of years ago. It was given to the team below them, so it can happen. But it's paper talk at the end of the day. Alexa Vuja's report: Pep will leave regardless. He doesn't have the bottle to take up a challenge. He has never stayed more than 3 years. But the interesting thing is, as I said before, they're repealing the ban. The best situation for them right now is either 1, the ban gets upheld, they're back in the Champions League, or 2, the ban only lasts 1 year. Now, at the end of the day, how many players do you think would jump ship if the ban was only a year? Do you think they would stay?
I was going to ask you the same, because that's what the scenario I'm going to pitch.
Why don't we go through the team and say who we think will stay or go?
Are we doing the start? Do you want to do the starting 11?
Yeah, I think we should say who's going to jump ship.
Go for it very quickly.
So there's Edison. I think he'd stay.
I'll get it off the most recent starting 11 as well.
The thing is, you got to think about it. Say they keep the 2-year ban. Who's going to leave and who's going to stay? We'll start with the manager. We'll start with Guardiola.
Well,
go with
just one thing. You saw what happened to Chelsea. They got their transfer ban. Eden Hazard just straight were like, well, I'm off.
He was leaving anyway.
Yeah.
He always wanted to go.
Right.
True.
Pep. Just a simple yes or no answer.
No. I
Yes.
think he'll go.
He's going to go.
Yes, he'll stay.
Okay. Edison.
I think he'll stay.
Stay.
Kyle Walker.
Stay.
Stay.
Otamendi.
Go.
Go.
Fernandinho.
Go.
Stay.
Retire.
I think he'll retire there.
Yeah.
Zinchenko.
Stay.
Stay.
Kevin De Bruyne.
Go.
Stay.
Rodri.
Go.
Stay.
Gundogan.
Stay.
Stay.
Mahrez.
Go.
Go.
Stay.
Aguero.
Go.
Stay.
You think Aguero will go?
I think
And Sterling.
stay.
Stay.
I
Stay.
genuinely
Should we go
don't.
through the subs quickly?
Leroy Sané.
Yeah,
will
go
leave.
for it.
Bravo.
Stay.
Leave.
He'll go. He'll just get sold.
Jesus.
He'll
Stay.
go. I reckon he'll go.
Silva.
Which
Bernardo.
one?
Leaving it. Bernardo.
go.
He'll
Stay.
stay.
David.
He's going. He's going to Benfica.
Going to
innit?
Benfica.
He'll go to Benfica.
David Silva.
He's
obviously
going
He's
anyway.
going. He's retiring.
Cancelo.
Stay.
Foden.
Oh,
Sorry.
I think Cancelo will go because I don't think he's had the best time at City, to be honest.
True.
I don't think he's been that good.
Foden.
He'll stay.
No,
He might get some game time now.
And then Eric Garcia.
Stay.
Don't know,
I
yeah.
really don't think there'll be as much of a exodus of players leaving.
To be
be
fair,
honest.
I don't.
I think more of them is, for example, the ones I said that were going to go, like Otamendi and Bravo. They'll just want to get rid of them anyway.
The thing for me is what I
John
see
Stones, he'll go.
from the outer public and from what people are saying. To me, it just feels like people think this is the end of City. That
No.
next season they'll never win a title again. They'll be down at the bottom. I
think
just
it's
feel like
people hoping,
people. It's a bit of overhope
I think it's
and a
people
bit
just
of
sick of.
overhype to the situation.
Well, there's a lot of comments here. Alexa, the reason why this is justified is because everybody has sold an important player for big money over the last 10 years. Only haven't. United sold United. United sold Ronaldo, Real sold Di Maria, Juve sold Pogba, Dortmund sold everyone, Barca sold Neymar, even PSG sold Lo Celso and a couple of other guys. City have never sold important.
You are right.
Chris, if I were Liverpool, City get banned for 2 seasons from Champions League. Treat City resolve putting cheeky bid in for De Bruyne. Gareth Bernardo, Laporte leaves probably and Jesus. Alexa, Yael's to Olympiacos, Zabaleta and Kolarov left for peanuts. The rest have stayed or have no value in the side. There's like 7 or 8 50 mil plus players and nobody else can have them. Not to mention they haven't developed a single academy player since Micah Richards. And no, do not mention Foden.
Well, I'll argue the point
I
then
love that. That was a good comment.
Real Madrid sold Di Maria in a position where they had more than enough players up top.
And then we
PSG sold Lo Celso because he was surplus to requirements there. If you look at the situation when Lo Celso left, they didn't really need him. They'd got Draxler, they'd
Paredes,
got Pastore at the time, and Kunku was there. I think Paredes had just moved. Just signed.
I think if you look at all them teams that Alexa has listed, United, it was too much money to say no.
Yeah,
at the time.
In that
Like
situation, it was way too much.
Like I said, Di Maria probably they didn't need him. Even Juve probably didn't, because at that point they had Pirlo, Marquisio,
Yeah.
who was still sort of in
Vidal
the prime.
as well.
The only team I can think is Dortmund.
Barca as well, I think.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Barca one, a lot of those is just because of so much money was being pumped at them. You can't say no.
Point, because let's be fair, every team has sold a player for big money and reinvested it, apart from one team who've never sold anyone and just kept investing, and that's Man City.
Is that because they're scared to sell a big player in the risk that
How much did they sell Robinho and Tevez for? It can't have been that much.
Not a lot. Well, I think.
You think how much did they buy Robinho for at the time?
It was the record signing.
Yeah, and how much was Tevez as well?
Robinho
was like 40, wasn't he, or something like that?
Yeah. But you think how much they'd sold them for? Sorry,
I'm just trying to find out how much he went for. Right, so this is Robinho's transfer history on Transfer Market. This is probably as close as I'm going to get to it. So he joined Manchester City for a fee of £13 million.
13
million, and he was sold to AC Milan for 16 million.
So they made profit on Robinho. Go on, lads.
Tevez.
Yes, you beat me to it.
They bought him for 26.10 from West Ham. They sold him for 8.10. To Juventus.
8.1, I'm guessing.
They bought him from West Ham?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but if you look at all the players they've done that with, they bought Bakary Sagna for money,
West Ham.
Sold him for nothing.
United.
Yeah.
Sorry, it was because we're on loan. Sorry.
It's alright. Bakary Sagna, they've signed him and sold him for nothing. Gael Clichy did the exact same. Javi Garcia, they did the exact same. Nigel de Jong, they did the exact same.
They're going to do the same with...
I don't recall them selling a player. But Jadon Sancho, they sold him for what, £1 million?
I'm trying to think, and I can't think of any. Like, how much did they sell Dzeko and Balotelli for?
Not a lot.
Can't be that much.
Not a lot, no. A combined about...
Sammy and Nasri? Did he leave on a free?
I think so.
Alexa's put, I appreciate your argument, but if all those teams could sell guys surplus to requirement, why couldn't City sell Silva or Gundogan or somebody else or Mangala or whoever? Well, you've got to look at Mangala and think, no, to be honest, nobody really wanted Mangala at the end of the day. And I think a lot of these players feel comfortable where they are because if they were to move elsewhere, look at Gundogan, for example. Where do you think Gundogan would go if he left? Do you think he'd go anywhere that was bigger than City in terms of maybe the money that he's on?
Back to Dortmund.
So for players, it's like a comfort blanket when they're there, that they know they're getting quite a lot of money. They're happy to stay where they are. He's put Alexis put as well. Plus at least at the start of the Sheikh era, they sold Maicon and De Jong and Bony and Savic, and some people showed they had some sense of economic balance.
When
Pellegrini came in, it all went chaotic.
How much did they sell Wilfried Bony for?
I can get it here. 11.7
11.7 million.
They signed him for 20 off.
20.
I've got here departure 17-18, arrival 17-18. I'm just saying this because you see, so they got rid of Iheanacho for 24.93 million.
There's one, to be fair.
Unal, who's currently playing for Villarreal.
NS Unal, yeah.
Bone, Aaron Moy, Nolito, Fernando, Kolarov, Nasri, Hart, Dinea, Zabaleta, Caballero, Clichy, Navas. These are the players they brought in. Laporte, Mendes, Walker, Silva, Edison, Danilo.
At the end of the day, when you look at
Foden, they brought Foden up.
I just want to see a combined. How much was the combined price of sales versus the combined price of investment?
The net spend.
It's not a viable way of running a club.
Unless your manager is unless you're owned by Sheikh Mansour.
Yeah, you look at how much they will have probably made back from the players they sold is going to be nowhere near the amount.
The only players I feel like they make money off is the players they buy for cheap, because Aaron Moy, they got him for free and they sold him for like $1 million. So it's small profit.
But you think in terms of
I'm on about in terms of they've never bought a big player and then sold him for the same amount.
Because
they've only bought small.
I have the ties to the other club. They've got New York City FC. They've got Melbourne, so they can buy players freely and chuck them about where they want.
They never promote youth prospects. They just buy people instead.
They'll make profit on Sané though, because he's definitely leaving it. So he's going to Bayern Munich.
To be fair though, when was the last time a youngster really made it? Foden's not made it. Sorry, he hasn't. And neither has Eric Garcia. I don't remember the last time they generically stemmed a player.
Richards?
Michael Johnson?
I'd say Iheanacho, but I think Leicester will admit they overpaid for Iheanacho. I think.
I can't think of any off the top of my head.
I'm going back to the 13-14 of like when they brought people in or had people. Goodyear, I swear, were young when they had him, but nothing. He genuinely is quite like you're going up recently.
You look, that's just the philosophy is not to bring young players through.
For me, Zinchenko, the only one. Jason Denayer, they brought him up from the youth,
but they never played him.
I know that's the problem.
I think. Do you remember we all had the criticism of Chelsea that they'd always loan players out? Chelsea, the best thing that ever happened to them was this transfer ban. I am hoping, honestly, that this is the best thing to happen to Man City and they start generating talent. But
it won't.
It won't.
Never will happen. I think.
Hey, I'm trying to be positive here.
I'm just looking at players at the ball. Like you've got Sterling, but he was bought for so much.
Yeah. It was someone else's talent.
You can't class him as young. Patrick Roberts again could have been someone big, but
well, Alexa's just put a couple of kind of like the youngsters that they've had over the years. Phil Foden, Eric Garcia, Patrick Roberts, Diedrich Beatia, Matai Nastasic, Kelechi Iheanacho, Pablo Maffeo, Jason Denayer, John Guidetti. All these youngsters
Brahim
pretty
Diaz
much have no or legit impact.
Brahim Diaz.
You look at where are they now?
Guidetti's at Hannover 96, Denayer's at Lyon. Pablo Maffeo's at Girona, Iheanacho's at Leicester, Nastasic's at Schalke, Beata's at Hertha Berlin, Patrick Roberts is at Norwich, Eric Garcia's still there, and Foden's still there.
And then Brahim Diaz at Madrid.
Yeah. Brahim Diaz is the only one that's like moved on.
It is.
Like made an advancement.
Yeah, it's a very interesting situation, and of course, as we know, that will spur over the next couple of months. So we will keep you up to date on it, but I can see this one rumbling on for quite some time. Right then, we're going to be over to this week's fixtures results. We'll go over these ones pretty quickly. What we've done this week, I did say it was a Champions League special. We've mixed it together on the weekly roundup. I'll talk about that a little bit more later on. But we had some pretty decent games this week. Now, in terms of the points, in terms of our score predictions, somebody in this room is absolutely battering us by a comprehensive victory. It's not me. It's not Rowan.
42-0 last week.
It's not you, Rowan.
And it's not Kieran L. It's Kieran D, who's now leading us 4-0. Now, he didn't get the first game right, which was Valencia versus Atletico Madrid, but he did get Wolves and the Lazio score. But we'll talk about those in a moment's time. Who'd like to go through the first one? This was Valencia 2, Atletico Madrid 2. Pretty good game.
He's one of the standout fixtures of the previous La Liga weekend, ended in a stalemate as both sides could not find a win in a dramatic match. Marcos Llorente opened the score 15 minutes into the game with a simple tap-in, while Gabriel Paulista was able to gain an equaliser just before the end of the first half. Thomas Payet had other ideas, however, scoring a wonderful goal 3 minutes later. The midfield disposed Parejo before firing from just outside of the box to make the score 2-1. Kondogbia grabbed the equaliser in the 60th minute for Valencia, but neither side could grab a winner. Atletico Madrid stay fourth with 40 points, while Valencia is seventh, but only 2 points behind the away side.
It's a very, very big weekend in La Liga. This is one of the games that I picked out for the standout. Valencia and Atletico Madrid, of course, playing some of their Champions League football over the week. Of course, as we know, we're recording this right now, Atletico Madrid got a fantastic result against Liverpool last night. In terms of La Liga, it's getting pretty feisty up there right now. They've got to play Atletico Madrid. In fact, they play Villarreal this weekend, which is not one of the games that I've picked out in terms of the weekly roundup. So we will be talking a little bit more about Valencia later on as they play Atalanta in the Champions League. But in the whole league, it's very, very close right now between 3rd and 8th. All the teams are only just kind of separated by 5 points. Getafe in 3rd on 42. Real Sociedad in 8th on 37. A lot of these teams right now are dropping points this weekend. Getafe lost, Madrid got a draw, Sevilla got a 2-2 draw, Villarreal being one of the only sides, and Real Sociedad to pick up 3 points this weekend. Overall, unfortunately, none of us got any points on the board, which is a real shame. Eventually, hopefully, one of us three between me, Kieren and Rowan will eventually pick up a point to try and fight Kieren, who's standing on the top of the podium looking down at us. Well, life's pretty good right now, isn't it, in terms of your predictions?
Yeah, just a thing on Atletico Madrid. I feel like over the past 4 or 5 weeks, we always talk about them. They're always on the weekly fixtures, and we criticise them quite a bit. But the last 2 games, they've played quite well. And yesterday, they played excellent, exactly what they wanted. And it's just a bit. It's about time we give them some praise, really, because they did very well. They did really well.
Oh yeah, they did the Simeone special, a 1-0 win where they grind out and they win a game. You know, Atletico, for all their flaws and the lack of goals, they are still arguably the best defensive team in the world. I would personally put them up there. Just the way Simeone sets it up, he can have any set. I think he could have any set of 4 at the back, and he'd still probably grind out a 1-0 against anyone in the world. Also, I also want to mention about Gabriel Paulista, who's absolutely revitalised his career since a horror show at Arsenal, to be fair. It seems like Arsenal couldn't buy a good centre-back, and then he's gone to Valencia and he starts week in, week out. He had that volley that was harshly disallowed the other week.
It did, yes, but the goal he scored here wasn't too bad either, to be honest.
And that's what I mean. For me, it proves that you can escape from the Premier League, and you can, if you are widely criticised, which I think Gabriel Paulista was, people would have said he's not at Arsenal's level, but he's at the top end of La Liga playing a brilliant season. And I mean, fair credit to him.
Look at defenders in the league. You see, obviously, when Otamendi was at Valencia, he was a quality player in his day.
Mangala?
Mangala as well. He's not been doing too bad while he's been there. But a fantastic result for Valencia. For Atletico Madrid, it is really, really, really important now that they start getting a run of form going. They haven't had a win in their last 4 La Liga. Only 1 win in their last 5 in La Liga. So now really needs to be a point, especially after that result last night against Liverpool, that they
just
kick
depends
on.
if they want to prioritise the Champions League or not. Because if they get past Liverpool, that's going to give them a lot of momentum going forward. But it just depends on if they want to push for the to get higher in the league or not.
They really need to keep pushing because of how tight it is. They could miss out on the Champions League.
But I think their players are starting to get into a bit of form now. Like Thomas Partey has arguably been their player of the match in the last 2 matches. Like, he was brilliant yesterday.
It was
he
fantastic.
had Liverpool's midfield on ice.
100%.
He was amazing. I think there was a stat that Liverpool, none of Liverpool's midfielders created a chance yesterday or something.
Liverpool didn't have a shot.
No, they didn't have a shot.
Which was the first time it's happened in a long, long time.
But it's literally what we said. It was, can the attack of Liverpool break down the defence of Atletico Madrid? The answer in the first leg, no. However, you look at the second leg. I mean, Van Dijk's interview was rather salty. I'm not going to lie.
I think Jurgen Klopp was salty as well.
Yeah, no, it was rather salty. He was like, we'll be there at Anfield. It's up to Atletico to turn up.
It's exactly what Atletico Madrid would have wanted, you know what I mean? A 1-0 scrappy win. The crowd were up for it. 90 minutes of that game, they were cheering for 90 minutes.
But to be fair,
it's going to make it incredibly feisty for the second leg.
Can you count them out, Liverpool? I can't.
No, you can't count them out, never. But it's if Atletico Madrid get an away goal, then Liverpool need 3.
There's a very different aura around Liverpool. I think if this was last year, a lot of people would have probably said, we probably might not make it through. But now they got that incredible result against Barcelona. They've had all these incredible comebacks. The aura around Liverpool now is, we can beat Atletico Madrid. We will walk them over at Anfield.
I don't think they'll walk them, but I think they'll beat them.
But they feel like they can walk them in terms of the atmosphere.
That might just be a little bit of an overconfidence.
Maybe together, because you'll never walk alone. But honestly, when you look at... but I always look at Atletico. I think it was...
You don't think so, Ron?
No, it's all right.
They
finished. Crap pun.
Thank you.
For God's sake.
I think when you look at Atletico, when they faced Juve a couple of years back, they had a 2-0 lead going into the second leg. And everyone was saying, because Atletico are so good defensively, there's no way that you can turn it around. Then Cristiano Ronaldo happened and it ended 3-0.
I also think Diego Simeone's never lost a Champions League knockout game to a side that's not had Cristiano Ronaldo in it.
Yeah, you're right, because I remember people say it's literally like Ebenezer Scrooge is the ghost of Christmas past is Ronaldo and Diego Simeone.
I don't think Diego Simeone's ever lost a Champions League knockout tie to a team that hasn't had
some good points. Chris Welch, if we get knocked out, I hope Atletico win the Champions League and look his team not to win it. Alexa, I'm so angry, even as a Liverpool sympathiser, at the disrespect shown to Atletico and Simeone. I hope the fans come back down to earth so that the team realise what type of challenge we face. Chris, some of our fans are delusional, blaming the refs. A load of nonsense. Alexa, Atletico proved that with an extremely organised 2 banks of 4 and a striker who can score a chance, you can easily beat Liverpool. Red Star and Napoli and Barca proved it last year.
But they should. Atletico arguably should have beaten by more. Like Morata, he had a few chances, completely slipped on his back at one of them. He just reminds me of why Chelsea got rid of him. To be nice, but he's been better at Atletico though. But it's just they should have beaten him 2-0, I think, yesterday, maybe even 3.
But in terms of the Liga, 2-2 draw for Valencia is a pretty good result against Atletico Madrid. But we move on now to another game that ended in a draw in the Premier League. It was one of the points that Kieran got completely correct. Wolves 0, Leicester 0. Do you want to talk us through this one, Kieran?
Yeah, give me the 0-0, Josh. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
For the second time this season, Wolves versus Leicester ends without any goals scored, although Hamza Chowdhury was sent off for the away side with 15 minutes left of the match. There were chances and even a goal ruled out. However, Yuri Tielemans hit a long-range strike early into the game, which was tipped away by Schmeichel. The major talking point of the game was Willy Boly's 43rd minute header, which was controversially ruled out by VAR for offside. It spurred a lot of debate, but neither team would go on to claim all 3 points. Leicester stay third and could be 4 points behind Man City, depending on their result against West Ham tonight. Wolves are sat in 8th place with only one win in the last 5 and a Europa League tie against Espanyol tomorrow.
The question is, should Wolves be worried? They've been on a pretty poor run of form right now in the league.
I think.
They're slowly dropping down that Premier League table as teams like Spurs and even, you can say, to be honest, Burnley are starting to pick up points and a run. Do Wolves need to get back on a run of form?
They struggle against the sides that play the same way against them. Like they struggled against Man United. To be fair, the game struggled really. They struggled against Leicester, but they need to find a way of scoring goals against the teams that play similar style football against them, and that's always been their downfall. They don't score enough goals, really.
Well, if you look at Wolves' next fixtures, they've got Espanyol in the Europa League, then they've got Norwich at the weekend,
Winnable.
then Espanyol, and they've got Tottenham, Brighton, West Ham, Bournemouth, Villa, Arsenal, Sheffield United, Everton, Burnley, Palace, Chelsea. Very mixed games there.
Really mixed. They've got a couple of teams. To be fair, they're all going to be tricky because as we get towards the end of the season, all these clubs are going to be desperate to pick up points.
It's like Norwich you saw at the weekend. They could have easily got something out of that Liverpool game.
Yeah, and if they had, they would have been right back in the race to get out of the relegation zone. As for Leicester, do they also need to be a bit worried? They've only had one win in their last 5 as well. 2 draws in a row, 2 losses and a win. Is the worry now that potentially they could start dropping points, but they've got that comfort blanket of 9 points ahead of Chelsea, who seem to be dropping points themselves?
I think they're too far ahead now.
Do you feel?
Yeah, and
do you feel that not even maybe Tottenham, who are starting to get a run of form, could potentially go over Chelsea and challenge them?
Yes.
Oh, over Chelsea?
I mean, no, is in terms of, do you feel like that Tottenham could start going on a pretty good run of form here and try and jump frog Chelsea and Leicester?
I don't know.
They've got to make 10 points.
Yeah, they've got to make 10 points.
But I think
which is 4 games.
Tottenham's next 2 league games are probably make and break. It's Chelsea and then it's Wolves.
Leicester do play Man City this weekend.
They do. Just looking at Leicester's results, obviously a 0-0 draw against Wolves. These are just Premier League, by the way. Obviously the 0-0 draw against Wolves, 2-2 draw against Chelsea. They beat West Ham 4-1, which you'd expect. Burnley beat them 2-1. Southampton beat them 2-1. And then they beat Newcastle 3-0.
You think in the games though that Leicester won particularly early on in the season, they were always the better side in the games. Whereas when they have been getting beat, they've not been the better side in the games. Like when they played Wolves, they were the second best side. When they played Chelsea, they were the second best side. When they played Burnley, they were the second best side. It's just the fact that I think it's catching up a little bit to them.
Yeah.
And everyone says like when they won the league, everyone were expecting the downfall. It's kind of slowly happening, but I think they're already too many points ahead to
They know
to
they've
fall
kind
out.
of got that leeway. If there's so many points between the rest of them that they're all right. Chris has put in the comments, do you think VAR be better with foreign referees, not our bunch of garbage we've got? It's it's only way VAR will get better, in my opinion.
I love VAR.
And he said as well, Leicester top 4 finish, easy, comfortable lead. Just need Vardy firing again. Vardy's been off the boil recently.
I've said this many times. The referees just need more training. That's all.
Yeah.
They need clarification on the rules as well.
I've referenced it so many times. Rugby, cricket, they've all VAR works incredibly well. It's just more training. Fans will get used to it. I don't think that's
the fans need to know what's going on as well.
Fans will just get used to it.
Like in the Man United game, you can't tell what's going on until it's after it's unfolded, and then the fans are left guessing.
Well, the rules might be changing a little bit more. Arsene Wenger has imposed the idea of offsides being if a body part is in a position where they can't score with it, but is offside, it will not count as an offside anymore.
An arm.
Yeah, for an arm. If the arm's offside, it won't count as offside anymore. It will only be
that's already the
in
rule.
A position. No, it's not.
It's shoulders.
No, it's not.
No, it's not. It's not the fingertips. It's shoulders. It gets the line at the shoulder.
Well, why is Arsene Wenger saying that then?
Because I swear to God, you look back. If your hand is there, it's your shoulder that the
I'm not saying it's. I'm not saying it's arm. I'm just saying
it's
in a situation of if a body part that. Let me just get it up 2 seconds.
I think
Arsene Wenger will change the offside law next season to end VAR chaos. A player will be deemed onside if any part of the body which can legitimately score a goal is level or behind the last defender, even if the other parts are in front.
Isn't that UEFA?
That's what it is already.
It's not Premier League. That's UEFA.
No, that's for in general.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, that will be for in general.
I think
they need to come out and clarify the handball rule as well.
He works for FIFA, Wenger.
Yeah, I think. Go on.
I think the arm thing's true because the arm thing can help gain an advantage. Because let's say you and the defender if your hand's further forward, you can I know it sounds stupid, you can use that more of a momentum gainer than someone whose arm's straight.
I swear,
but you're running out.
I swear that's already the rule.
By the logic, Olivier Giroud's goal against Chelsea, if it went under the new laws, would be allowed. The goal that Liverpool,
his foot was offside.
According to I'm looking at the Sun, they're saying Olivier Giroud's disallowed goal for Man United would have stood under the new laws.
So they're saying that a foot can be offside.
A player will be deemed onside if any part of the body which can legitimately score a goal is level or behind the last defender.
Well, that's any body part apart from your hand.
Yeah.
It will mean one of the most significant changes of the past 2 decades. Wenger
What body
plans
part
to
can't you
drive
score
through
with
this
your
change this month in his role as FIFA's head of global development, where he's effectively the boss of the international board. So Arsene, basically the offside law right now says a player is in an offside position if ... any part of the head, body or feet is in the opponent's half, excluding the halfway line, and nearer to the opponent's goal line than both the ball and the second last opponent. Wenger's offside law says a player will be deemed onside if any part of the head, body or feet is level or behind the second last opponent, even if other parts are in front.
Wait,
we talk about VAR every week, don't we?
Yeah.
No,
so Chris is just sorry.
No, I'm just saying I'm done talking about it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I agree.
The consistency is absolutely gone. Son gets red carded, Maguire stays on the pitch. That's a joke. I mean, the fact that the other week Wolves got disallowed a goal because his heel was slightly ahead of someone else's, and you can literally, when we're talking slightly, it's minimal. When it was it the young kid Pedro Neto?
It was Pedro Neto.
When he's got, but it was Johnny that had his heel was slightly ahead of someone else.
How could he? Was he fit? I'm guessing
he was facing the other way. Yeah,
I was trying to think.
It was a short corner.
I mean,
he was offside from the short corner.
Then you go back to the other rest, like earlier in the season, Firmino and his armpit. We had the first day of the season, Laporte and his fucking pinky finger poking a pass. I'm done. I want everything.
Are we done? Should we go to the airport?
Yeah, let's go to let's go to the airport.
Let's go see Arsene Wenger.
Let's fly to Italy now. Kieran, I'll let you talk about this one. We all predicted that Inter Milan wouldn't win. And we all said at the end of it, watch Inter Milan go win.
No,
in fact,
we've already had this discussion yesterday. Some of us went for Inter Milan.
No, he didn't. No one went for Inter Milan.
I swear we had this discussion yesterday.
I went for a Lazio win. You went for a Lazio win. You went for a draw, and you went for a draw as well.
I swear we all went. Someone went for an Inter win.
No, because Kieran
nobody
said
did.
That's where you'll win.
Nobody went for them.
Inter Milan are going to win them.
And we were all correct. Kieran, do you want to talk us through this one?
I can indeed. Sergej Milinkovic-Savic played a key role in the Serie A title race as his late winner was the decider in an intense match between Inter and Lazio. The first half was tight, but the game opened after Ashley Young was able to strike home a deflected Candreva shot and leave Inter 1-0 up at the break. But the hero of last week, Stefan de Vrij, became the villain as he dragged down Ciro Immobile to give his former club a penalty. Agent de Vrij.
Yeah.
Only 5 minutes into the second half, which Immobile, as he's done this season, converted. Of course he did. The comeback kings of last week would ultimately fall short thanks to a curling effort from Sergej Milinkovic-Savic that would give Lazio all 3 points. Lazio are now above Inter Milan, into second place, 1 point behind Juventus, but Inter are only 3 points behind the league leaders, so it's still all very tight.
I was tempted to put, when I put the comeback kings, I was going to put the comeback kings of last week lost their crown.
No,
just getting an analogy in there.
Great work.
But the Serie A title race, week in, week out, we talk about it so much. It's so exciting right now. But Lazio have put their name right in the hat with this win. Fantastic result for Lazio. Do you feel like this could be the time for Juventus to finally drop the Serie A title and it go elsewhere?
Because it's the best chance, isn't it?
They have.
Yeah.
I mean, Lazio have gone from being the dark horses to
Did Juventus
literally
win this weekend?
They did indeed. It was a 2-0 win against Brescia.
It's make or break at the start of March. They've got Inter Milan, Juventus.
They do indeed.
Ooh.
So obviously there's 3 points separating Juventus and Inter.
Inter Milan need to win.
If Inter win, they'll go the same points as Juventus regarding to do with this weekend's previous result. And then Lazio have got their next league game is Genoa.
Yeah, they don't play
Winnable.
Juventus till April. I'm just looking at the end of the season. I'm interested to see the teams that have got the end of the season. Inter Milan have got a very, very tricky run. Their last 3 games are against Genoa, Napoli and Atalanta, which at that point there could be so much going on in terms of Napoli.
Napoli might be relegated by then.
Well, they're 9th now. They're going up again.
And obviously they beat Inter Milan, didn't they, in the first leg of the Coppa Italia?
It's Cagliari that are dropping points now. They've dropped all the way down to 11th. Wow. They just cannot seem to win a game of football right now. But it's an incredible race. Sergej Milinkovic-Savic played one of the top games, and it proves why he's a fantastic midfielder on his day. In the first half, he had a long-range effort, which he hit from, I think, about 25 yards out. That hit the bar. And there was a couple more chances for Lazio to score. There was actually a goal that was disallowed. Lautaro Martinez scored in the 87th minute. but that was offside,
wasn't
which
he?
he shouldn't have
He
been
shouldn't have
offside, which is a real shame for Inter Milan. But a couple of comments have come in. Alexa Vujic says the retro Lazio kits are so good.
I've
Chris,
never seen them.
I haven't
seen them
either. Chris Wells just said, I went for Inter win in the comments last week, so probably thinking of me. Alexa Vujic said, brings me back to the Sven era, Salas, Yapstam, Mihajlovic, Stankovic, Veron, Nesta. It really is a good time for Lazio right now.
Big Seb Veron. What a
really is a good time for them. And Alexis has put, Sarri's career will be finished if he ends up being responsible for the end of the longest monopoly in European football. To lose the Serie A title with Juventus is a legitimately impressive feat. Yeah, with Ronaldo as well. If you do have any thoughts and opinions throughout the show as well, do put them in the comments below. We will read them out. And if you are new as well, do leave a like and a subscription as always.
To be fair, we say the title may come down to April. I think with the way Juventus have been playing recently, they are not as convincing as they once were. They can lose any game.
For me, it comes down to April. I had to do the math. They've got Juventus.
No. But what I'm saying is, I think it won't come down to that fixture because Juventus aren't convincing enough week in, week out anymore for me to bank on them every single. I mean, who was it they got beat by? Was it Parma or was
they were beat by Hellas Verona?
Hellas Verona, that's the one. Yeah, I can't bank on them anymore. Steamrolling team after team.
Well, I'm looking at Juventus's couple of games. I'm just going to give you an outlook for the entire rest of the season. In terms of the big clubs that they've got left to play, they play Inter Milan, as you said, Rowan, on the 1st of March. They still have Coppa Italia, which they're playing against Milan.
The 1st of March they play in Milan?
1st of March, yes.
So that's like next week? No, next week.
It'd be the weekend after, yeah. They've still got AC Milan to play, which is in April. They've got Lazio to play on the 26th of April. And then at the end of the season, they've got a game the last game of the season is against Roma. So at that point, Roma could still be in the position to be fighting for a Champions League spot.
Juventus have got way many games.
And Atalanta as well.
Roma could be in the Europa League as well.
Lazio have not got any club competitions.
They got knocked out of Europa League,
and they're not in the Coppa Italia.
They got knocked out by Napoli.
So if we're going off, let's say Juventus beat Milan in the Coppa Italia, that's a final they have to play. If more likely they're going to beat Lyon, so that's another 2 games they're going to have to play.
Inter Milan are going to have to play a lot more games there in Europa League as well.
Unless, do you think they just bottle it? Because they've got automatic Champions League.
They could win the Europa League.
They've got automatic Champions League.
They could win the Europa League. They won a trophy, won't they?
Lazio have already got a piece of silverware. Lazio won the other competition
Italian Super Cup
by beating
Juventus.
So they could literally end the season doing a double, which I don't think at the start of the season anyone would have said.
Well, we were talking a couple of months ago, obviously when they got knocked out by Celtic in the Europa League. We were talking basically saying, well, surely Inzaghi's going to be sacked. It was in a position where it was like, you can't be losing to Celtic and Stade Rennais and that and not be in a position to get sacked. And now you look at it and you think they're really, really on for the title right now. And this is one of Lazio's best teams in recent memory. Immobile's firing. Milinkovic-Savic is incredible. Thomas Strakosha is an unbelievable goalkeeper, and I do feel like he's going to get a lot of interest in the next couple of years.
I'm just looking at Atalanta's fixtures. They have a genuine chance to win the league because they have to play Inter, Lazio, and Juventus.
They have a genuine chance to win the league.
They've got to beat all them teams, though.
Yeah, they're only 10 points behind. That's a guaranteed 9 points.
It's not guaranteed.
It's not guaranteed 9 points.
If they beat all them, that's 9 points.
Yeah, but then you're banking on the other teams drawing a losing when they've
12 points behind
Are
in
they?
the league, yeah.
They've
got 45 points, and Juventus on top has got 57.
Plus, Atalanta might play in Champions League.
I would say Atalanta are the team that could change the title race in how it goes.
I think Atalanta, if they won the league, it'd be the biggest comeback since Rotherham at Solihull away.
Fantastic result that was. I've got to say, though, for Atalanta, they could be happy right now. They are, I believe, they're 6 points ahead of Roma in 5th.
I think they'll be happy with just getting in Champions League again and just going on a little run in Champions League.
If they can keep that 4th place, cement it, and guarantee Champions League football, I think Gasperini's done a fantastic job.
I was going to say, if you said at the start of the season, we'll give you, next year you'll have Champions League football, and you'll make it out the group stages this year, when you were bottom of the group after 3 games.
You'll have Man City in your group.
Which we will be talking about Atalanta versus Valencia in a couple of moments' time.
And get a round of 16 tie against a beatable team, maybe a quarter-final spot. I think Atalanta fans would have bit your hand off and anything else. You know, this for me could be Atalanta's crowning moment as a club so far.
The important thing
in recent memory
for Atalanta is it needed to be a sense of sustainability. Can you hold that position and keep running in the Champions League?
They score a lot of goals. That's why I think they can go through against Valencia.
They beat Torino 7-0. They beat Milan 5-1. They beat
in the Champions League.
7-0.
They beat a few. Then they beat, was it Dynamo 4-0?
Yep.
But you've got to also look. They are reliant a lot on Alejandro Gomez
and Ilicic.
And Ilicic as well. But I think, to be fair, you lose Alejandro Gomez, Ilicic isn't as good as a player. I think you look in the midfield, they've got Malinovsky. I think he's a very talented young guy. They've got Paslic as well.
Paslic, they're just going to be...
Lazio.
They are signing...
Atalanta.
They're going to be signing Pasalic from Chelsea.
Is it 13 million euros? Something like that?
About 13, 16. And they've got Muriel, which comes off the bench, who's scored a lot of goals in recent weeks. In terms of the Champions League, Atalanta, they beat Shakhtar Donetsk 3-0.
Oh, wait, don't they have Duvan Zapata?
They do. He's just come back from long-term injury.
Did you know what you said? I was going to say, I just thought, because you said Muriel, and I thought, I swear they have another Colombian striker. There he is, Duvan.
He's just come back from a long-term injury. But we will be talking about Atalanta versus Valencia later on. We now move over to France. Lille 1-2 Marseille. They have been flying recently, Marseille. They keep continuing to reaping the good results within Ligue 1 after a tight affair with Lost Lille. Victor Osimhen, who's now scored 13 goals this season, opened the scoring in the 50th minute, breaking down Marseille's offside trap. A couple of minutes later, Marseille were given a penalty, which was poorly taken by Valentin Rongier. It was a simple save for Magnan in the Lille goal. By the 66th minute, Marseille would eventually find their equaliser after Valéry Germain's header found the top left corner and was helped in by Reynaldo Mandava on the Lille goal line. It was... He really couldn't do anything in that situation. The header was going in, and he kind of just went up to try and block it, and it went over his own head. 3 minutes later, Dario Benedetto would score the winner after an inch-perfect cross from Valéry Germain. Marseille are now 11 points ahead of first-placed Rennes, but 10 points behind PSG. Of course, they dropped points,
at the
weekend. 4-4 against Amiens. Gaël Kakuta, Chelsea legend.
Playing their B team.
Did indeed. And Lille, they are now sat in 4th place. Marseille, what an incredible run of form right now in Ligue 1.
It's a big win, isn't it?
Very big win. It looks like they pretty much could cement their Champions League spot really, really soon.
They'll be happy with that, won't they?
Incredibly happy with that.
That is a big financial help
for them. Yeah,
they've been in the Europa League the past couple of seasons, aren't they? Getting back to Champions League where they belong. Really.
I mean, this season they got no cup competitions whatsoever. They weren't in the Europa League or the Champions League.
Maybe that's helped them a little bit.
Yeah, of course. Saying last week they'd been a bit, cash strapped in terms of money. They were looking to try and offload a couple of their big players.
They've got a really good team on the. And you look at it on paper. And Valéry Germain, he's been good this year. Rongier, he's very underrated for what he is. But in Lille, there's a lot of players that are excellent, and there's a lot of players that potentially have a really bright future. Like Osimhen's one of them. Yeah. Jonathan Bamba, Renato Sanchez for sure. We've seen him come off the boil a little bit when he played for Swansea.
Magnan?
Yeah, Magnan's good.
To be fair, it wasn't. It was a poor penalty, but it was a good save from Magnan for the Valentin Rongier.
There's a lot of players in Ligue 1, in Liga for Lille and Marseille that could be potentially poached by other leagues, and you just hope that doesn't happen for Marseille's sake, because you think, will they reinvest and get these players equal replacements for these players?
I mean, I give credit to Dario Benedetto as well. He's been on fine form recently. The 29-year-old Argentinian striker came in from Boca Juniors. There was a lot of worry about him, whether he'd be able to cut it in Europe. He's never played for a European side before. He's been on an incredible run of form recently. And it's nice to see Marseille back where they kind of belong.
Yeah. They invested smartly.
Yeah,
they invested
very
in players.
Smartly.
For example, Rongier.
What a signing.
Cheaper than your normal league and established midfielders, so I'm just going to make up a name I knew he'd never go. But if you went after Verratti, he'd cost you a lot of money and he'd cost you a lot of wages. Rongier, was he at Nantes?
He was at Nantes, yes.
He was at Nantes. So he has a lot less wages and probably got you cheaper. And then what they've done is they've mixed that with a bit of international players that aren't on as big wages. If they tried to sign a striker of Dario Benedetto's stature and say, if they tried to buy him from the Premier League, it'd cost them double and double wages.
I want to give credit to one player. That has been mentioned. I want to give credit to Alvaro, the Spanish centre-back. They haven't lost a game in the time he's been playing, as far as I'm aware.
And he was at Villarreal, wasn't he?
He was indeed. He was a kind of an outcast.
Yeah, he wasn't exactly the style centre-back. For example, when I think of Villarreal and their strong centre-back, it's Albiol. I think Albiol is a sturdy figure, whereas Alvaro maybe just needed to get away, grow his game, and I think he has at Marseille. And I think these players are finding a home, and it's
nice to see that.
It feels like there's a cohesion around Marseille at the moment. They know the situation they're in. Yes, they're up bloody creek without a paddle last season, so they needed to invest in certain players.
Yeah.
And they've made it so there's a togetherness. It very much reminds me of Leicester when they won the league. A group of, you wouldn't say standout players, but with togetherness, they've managed to create a team that can now challenge for Champions League football.
I'd like to make a bold claim.
Go on.
Marseille winning the league.
No.
Okay, get out.
Okay.
10 points behind.
They've got to play PSG.
Exactly.
Well,
No. Hold up, I'd like to stand my ground here. I genuinely think they're going to do it.
Point.
I think.
Do you feel like
Panathinaikos
PSG are going to drop a couple of points?
Yes.
Do you think they'll drop
Why?
10? That's 4 games.
They drew last game.
Please give me a reason.
Yeah, because they played their under 12s.
You see, demoralisation is a thing
Oh,
in football. They've just come off a 2-1 loss to Dortmund.
Which they should have arguably got 2-all.
No, they shouldn't. They were shocking.
No,
I thought they played
no,
alright.
they were poor.
No, they were
Dortmund
poor.
played them off the park.
Like, just this is another tangent. Dortmund were way better. Like, I feel like PSG subs didn't do anything, whereas Dortmund's did.
Yeah, I think that's just who you bring off bench, though, aren't you?
No,
Like, you see, who did Dortmund bring off bench?
Dortmund brought on Rayner
Yeah,
and
exa-
Schmelzer.
Yeah, exactly.
And PSG brought on Sarabia. Sarabia didn't do
It's
anything.
not done all, has he,
Sarabia
though?
has got more goals in 2020 than Neymar and Mbappe. Back away from Pablo Sarabia, please.
I shouted
No,
Gio
but-
Reyna.
yeah, Gio Reyna's
He
been
was
amazing.
incredible when he came on last night.
But I admittedly, I agree with Rowan. To be fair, Dortmund did play. PSG just didn't seem to have any flow to the
They
game.
were quiet. Very
Neymar
quiet.
was
Neymar
very
and Mbappe
annoying
were
last night.
quiet.
He was
Until
trying.
that little bit of moment of
he was-
like quality from Mbappe and then the finish from Neymar. That was probably about
This
it.
is the thing. Neymar was trying to be too over cocky with everything
That
he
is
did.
Neymar, though.
Well,
No.
the worry is now, I know this is going off topic, but Tuchel's under serious pressure. There
Yeah.
was
I was
a
thinking
video
this.
that came out last night. This is from, it was from Presnel Kimpembe's brother. Very, very explicit, to say the words. I'm not going to say anything of it. He went on a massive tangent, said, Tuchel, F your mother.
Who is this? Kimpembe's brother.
This is Kimpembe's brother, said, F your mother, F you, get out of our club,
What if
basically.
Pogba's
And
brother did that?
deleted the video. I think it was about 10 or 15 minutes afterwards, which by that point, it's
It was
too
shared,
late.
it was
all over.
everywhere.
Get,
It was everywhere,
get French
yeah.
Football News had shared it and things like that. I do feel like if Tuchel doesn't get the Champions League, he's gone.
That's what I think as well.
Do you know we talked about the cohesion and the togetherness of Marseille? If we go the complete opposite, we've
I
got
think
PSG.
There's too
Yeah.
many egos in the
Yeah.
PSG team. If you look at Mbappe and Neymar, Di Maria to a certain extent, but there's too many egos inside the PSG side for it to coexist. They win because they are by far the best footballing team. They've got the quality in Ligue 1 compared to anyone else.
For me, I think Neymar's the problem. I really do. I think everywhere he has been a
It's always
problem.
been it's always been a problem. hasn't
Yeah,
it?
he.
He just wants to be the best, doesn't he?
Yeah, and you know what? Some people will say, I admire the drive. Of course.
He is a good player.
He's a
He's a
brilliant
really good
player.
player.
But it's always down to when if he was smart about the way he played, he'd be brilliant. But it's these stupid passes and these stupid skills that he tries to. He can get away with it in league, and he really can. But I just think he has got. Like, if I had a team, would you give me a player half of Neymar's quality, but would give everything for the badge, or give me Neymar? I'd take the guy with half the quality. And
I think it was evident when they went 1-0 down, he started to play a bit more seriously, and they got the goal back.
Yeah.
And then
Pretty much instantly.
and then
wasn't
he just switched and went stupid again. I was like to say that Haaland, for me, is just one of the most strangest players. Like, the second half, he just didn't. The first half,
Yeah.
he still looked good, but
He's only 19. Maybe he just needs to. It's probably the biggest game he's ever played
he
in.
just didn't seem there. But then the second half, it's like someone slapped him and just went, "Go on."
That's a striker.
Yeah.
If you can play bad and score goals, you are a poacher. You are exactly that is what he's hired to do: is score goals, and he scored 2. I mean, another player that I wanted to give credit to until he decided to be an absolute stupid, idiotic defender was Zagadou. I thought Zagadou was
What
brilliant.
was he doing?
Did
Why
he
did
slip? Or did he
No,
just
No,
miss
he
his tackle?
he went to snap
Honestly-
Mbappe and just completely missed him.
Yeah, no, I think. But up until that point, Zagadou was absolutely brilliant.
Both of the
I
centre
think
backs
they were
that game.
saying on commentary that he's only started one game in the group stage. Zagadou.
Well, yeah, because Akanji was on the bench, but I don't know if Akanji's coming back from an injury. Maybe Josh can tell me that.
He
I don't
was
know.
playing right back though, Akanji, wasn't he? Against was he whoever they played at the weekend? He played on the right hand side.
Interesting because they adopted 5 at the back
It's,
last
um,
night.
Yeah.
They played 3 at the back.
It was an injury with Akanji.
Oh, if you include
There was an
yeah,
injury with Akanji.
Yeah, no injury with Akanji.
No,
I
it
think it was
just-
just tactical changes. Both sides went for on paper a 3 at the back formation. Right then, we'll go to the double point
So
games.
speaking of Haaland's ex-club,
Yes,
now,
Haaland's ex-club might have just bottled the Austrian title. They lost to Lask Linz 3-2. In terms of predictions, the closest one was mine. It's a shame it wasn't 3-2 to Salzburg.
Hold up, I got the right team winning. How can yours be closest?
Because it's not based on who wins, it's on the goals, unfortunately. That's how it works in the game. That's the aim of the game, unfortunately. So that was the game where nobody got any points on the board. And the other game, Luzern, which you did indeed, once again, you got the team correct,
did get the team.
but didn't get the score correct.
I was the closest.
Luzern 1-0 against St. Gallen. St. Gallen, who are top of the Swiss League, might have just bottled it because they've got a game against Basel next, as far as I'm aware. Basel are young boys, so they might have just bottled the title as well. So the two teams I picked out might have just bottled their own title.
We didn't get them.
Last Glims have pretty much won the league now because that was their biggest game left of the season. So unless they decide to
have a bit of fun.
Right then, weekly roundup time. Let's go for it, boys. Let's have it. Weekly roundup. Boom, it's the weekly roundup time. Right, as always, we have lots of games to predict, but it's a little bit different. We've got some Champions League games on the board. It's such a busy week of football, not just Champions League and Europa League, but in league competition as well. We've got 2 Champions League games to talk about, which are on tonight. We've got a game in La Liga, and we've got a massive game in Turkey. Double points, we've got 2 games. I'll talk about those a little bit later on in the show. So without further ado, we have 2 Champions League games on tonight. Our first game is Atalanta versus Valencia. Who would like to talk us through this one?
I'll do it.
Go on, Kieran.
I will.
I will.
Pick me.
Am I reading all this out? 'Cause is it about Spurs and Leipzig on here as well?
Yeah,
do you want me to read them both out?
Go for the Atalanta one first.
Right. Just tell me when to stop.
All right.
When you turn the page.
Yeah, it's
when I turn the page.
When you
Is
turn
that what
yeah,
right?
when you turn the page. You know when you just get those books and you're like, turn the page.
With like an arrow pointing to the side that you turn it, like you don't know which page to
To
turn.
be fair, that reminds me of my French speaking exam. When we got to the end of the page, they went, next question is on the next page. I'm like, well,
where else is it going to be?
I'm like, I didn't sneak one in, Mrs. Petite, thank you.
Go for it.
Atalanta versus Valencia. We've already had a talk about both these teams. With the Champions League round of 16 well underway, we see another 2 fixtures tomorrow, or tonight. First, Atalanta face Valencia. The home side come into the game with fine form, unbeaten in the last 4 Serie A games, as well as seeing the return of Duvan Zapata from long-term injury. In terms of the Champions League, they made their great escape, gaining a vital point against Manchester City before beating Zagreb and Shakhtar to finish second in Group C. For Valencia, they've won one of their last 3 games in the Liga, but were able to find a way out of Group H and even finish at the top of their Champions League group, which tongue-tied, in a group that consisted of Chelsea, Ajax and Lille.
I've got to say, I'm pointing out there, I'm more excited for this game than the other one.
No.
Just the fact because I just feel like these 2 teams, no one has any idea what's going to go on. This is Atalanta's first ever knockout game. Valencia are in a run of mixed form. I feel like there could be some goals in this tonight.
I'm looking forward to seeing Spurs get smashed.
Isn't this Atalanta's first ever Champions League?
Yeah, first ever Champions
League.
League.
What a great.
The expectations on the table for them was to probably just go out there and give it a good go.
I think they'd been fine dropping into Europa League.
Yeah. I think the group that they had with Manchester City, Shakhtar, Zagreb, it was expected, to be fair, that it was Shakhtar and City to get out of the group.
I predicted Atalanta, but when they were 3 games in and bottom of the group, I went, well, that's what I know about football.
But the way that they came back, the determination, obviously there was that massive 1-1 draw against City, of course, with Kyle Walker was in goal for the last 10 minutes of it. The massive win that they got against Shakhtar. I honestly don't know what they're going to do because Gasperini's such a good manager, but this game is just, as I've said last week, the rest of the teams will be probably looking at these 4 clubs and licking their lips thinking we could really, if we get one of these sides.
Valencia played well in the big games. They beat Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. They
beat Ajax.
Yeah, they beat Ajax. Thank you, Josh.
You're welcome. That's everyone that one.
But it's interesting.
And everyone beat Lille.
It's a game that's
me and you beat Lille.
It's an unexpected game. I don't know what's going to happen. As I said, Valencia beat Ajax 1-0. They got a draw against Chelsea in a 2-2 draw. They beat Lille comprehensively. They dropped points against them, actually. They got a draw against Lille.
Chelsea at Stamford Bridge.
They did, yeah.
After Chelsea dominated them.
This is the biggest game for both clubs in a
long
long time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nice to see Valencia back where I think they belong.
Yeah.
Because it's been a while since we've had like a really strong Valencia side. Maybe didn't they have David Villa back in the day?
They had David Villa, David Silva.
Maybe when they were all
couple of
around,
beach
you
players
know.
I
like
remember
that.
we played him in the Champions League knockout stages. I think in 2009.
Pablo Aimar, what a player he was back in the day.
It's just nice. It's nice to see them back, and it's nice to see. This is a battle of a team that's got a lot of legacy in Valencia versus a team that's pretty much an upstart. Which
Yeah, they're
is,
building their
It's
legacy.
one of those games where I'm not bothered who goes through. But I just want one of these teams to. Well, obviously one of these teams are going to be. But I don't mind which team goes through. Do you know what I mean?
Tensions have already kicked off before the games even happened. Valencia actually lodged in a complaint a couple of days ago saying that the San Siro is not fit enough to be played on, which it was quite a bizarre claim. And obviously AC and Inter have been playing on it. That's where Atalanta are currently playing. Their stadium is in a form of redevelopment right now. So they play their Champions League games there because attendance-wise as well. I don't think their stadium currently fits the kind of attendances that they need
Imagine
for
saying
it.
the San Siro's not fit to play on one of the most amazing grounds ever to be created in the go.
Iconic.
It's pretty much one of its final seasons.
They're not playing Tranmere away on the bloody.
No, but I'm so excited for this game because I feel like maybe tonight it will end 0-0 and I'll look stupid.
Is that what you guys are watching then? Are you watching the Atalanta Valencia game?
I'll have both games on, but I'll probably have an eye on this one, to be fair.
I'm going to watch Spurs Leipzig for the pure fact the young talent on Leipzig's part. I love seeing how Upamecano, Konate, Mukiele.
Right, should we make us predictions for the Atalanta Valencia game?
I just feel like it's very hard to predict this one.
Yeah.
What are you feeling for this one?
2-2.
2-2?
I think there's going to be goals.
I do feel like there's going to be goals in it.
I do. I think
Kieran?
2-0 Atalanta.
2-0 Atalanta.
My blind
I can't see Valencia not scoring. That's the thing because they just do score a lot of goals.
What are we doing the first leg?
Sorry,
I'm watching the renovation of Atalanta's new stadium. It looks well nice.
It does look really good though. It looks really good.
Just first leg.
Just first leg for this one.
3-1 Atalanta.
3-1 Atalanta.
So no one's gone for Valencia to win.
I'm going 3-2 Atalanta.
So no one's going for
Valencia to win on this one.
No one is, yeah.
Right, we move on to the next game. Do you want to talk us through this one as well, Kieran? Spurs v Leipzig.
Oh yes, sure. In the other match, Spurs face RB Leipzig. Mourinho's Spurs begin to pick up form with 3 wins in the last 3 Premier League matches, but have recently lost Son to injury, and the South Korean may not feature again this season. For Leipzig, they feature in a very tight Bundesliga title race and face injury issues to their back line, with Orban and Konate both out, as well as injuries to Kevin Campbell and Tyler Adams. For Spurs, their Champions League fixtures against Bayern may feel fresh in the memory, but RB Leipzig never faced Premier League opposition in the Champions League.
What do you feel about this one, boys? Because once again,
I think it's tough for Spurs. It's
going to be domination.
It's going to be really hard for
This
Spurs.
This is a tale of the unexpected. We are seeing a Spurs side that have got into a decent run of form recently.
We don't own a striker.
But it's because
they have now lost.
It's because of Son that they've been playing so well.
Exactly. We've no proper striker apart from.
Think who they're going to play though. Are they going to put Lucas up front? Or they're going to have to play Bergwijn on wing?
I tell you, step up, Troy Parrott.
I knew you were going to say that.
Mourinho's already said Troy Parrott's not even fit or ready to play.
Get out
so
Mourinho
right now,
youth.
it really is a case of is this going to dent the rest of Tottenham's season?
The bad thing for Spurs is that they're at home first. I think
they'll play Lucas, Lamela, Sessegnon as a front three.
Bergwijn.
A couple of comments have come in. Chris
Stevie Wonder
predicted for the last game. He's predicted 2-0 Valencia. He says Valencia more experienced in Champions League, in my opinion. Gareth Bernaldo's put Spurs will have to have Berg and Lo Celso passing to Lucas in the front and score how he did versus Ajax in both leagues.
You think they'll probably set up with Lucas, Bergwijn, Lamela, Ali, Lo Celso and Sissoko. Probably.
I could see that. I mean,
they have to have Dele Alli in there because he is now the main man.
He's
now the main man.
I'd like to see Sessegnon play.
I'm just looking at the team news, what people are predicting. So obviously Tottenham don't have Kane, Moussa Sissoko, and
they don't have Moussa Sissoko.
Yeah, Moussa Sissoko's out injured.
Oh,
and
is it? Eric Dyer.
Lamela and Foyth.
Step up Eric Dyer.
And Ndombele.
Lamela and Foyth could return after absences. Leipzig are in a crisis in defence with obviously Konate and Orban, and Upamecano suspended.
But I think Leipzig.
So Ethan Ampadu.
I think Leipzig are right though, because if you look at Tottenham strikers, they're not. It's not as threatening as when you see
Tottenham strikers.
Yeah, exactly. It's not as threatening when you see Kieren and Son coming up against
this game is we don't have no defence versus we don't have no attack.
I think it's bad for Tottenham that they're playing at home first. Because imagine if they were playing away, just try and survive the storm and then see what you have to build on at home. But now they've got to really win the first leg. I think
it's battle of two hospitals here, isn't it? Everyone's patched up.
He's at the bar.
Injured.
Rowan's at the bar.
It really is, and I mean, obviously, for Leipzig, things will look much better for the second leg because a lot of their players will be back. Upamecano will be back from his suspension.
Do you think Spurs have got a good defence though? Alderweireld, Vertonghen, Sanchez.
Just quickly speaking on suspensions, PSG have got quite a few going into their
Verratti's out.
Indeed. But in terms of the Tottenham defence, I think they've got a decent defence. Apart from
Lloris
Aurier's a bit of a
back
worry.
as well.
Yeah, Aurier's a little bit of a worry for me. But
if you can protect Aurier, he's not bad because going forward, he can cross the ball really well. But
put him up front.
He is
put him up right wing.
He is a liability. Aurier.
He is. He's
That's why he needs protection.
Yeah, exactly. But in terms of the predictions for this game, Kieran D, what we're going for? Spurs v Leipzig.
2-0 to Leipzig, I think.
2-0 to Leipzig.
Yeah.
I like it. Of course, Timo Werner as well, a big part of this
I'd like to see Mourinho get his comeuppance as well.
I'm sorry, I'm just want to say I'm sad to see Tyler Adams injured. I really like Tyler Adams. I think he's brilliant.
Yeah, he's becoming a little bit injury prone, which is a bit of a worry for Leipzig.
Well, this is the thing. They wanted to play him right back the other week because he played Klosterman at centre back. Well, they can't do that this week.
I think they will.
1-1.
1-1.
Who's he going to play right back though? Because Tyler Adams dropped in there.
I think they're going to play three at the back.
Didn't Mukiele?
I mean, they barely have one centre back.
Mukiele played right wing back.
I think Mukiele will play on the right wing back.
Mukiele, Ampadu, Klosterman.
Yeah. Rowan, what are you going for?
No.
0-0. You think it's going to be
it wouldn't surprise me.
A dead game?
No.
4-0.
Leipzig.
Okay, we're going from 0-0 to 4-0.
Mind you, Spurs struggle against German sides. We've seen it twice this year. Got beat 7-2 at White Hart Lane.
I'm going to go for. I'll be the dark horse 2-1 Spurs.
The dark horse.
It's a game that they could win, though. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
I'll pick them for this one. So we move from the Champions League games, of course, over the next couple of weeks. A couple of the more Champions League games have been played, so we'll talk about them as they come over the next couple of weeks. We now move over to La Liga, to a club that is absolutely flying high, but this is a humongous week of football in La Liga. Who'd like us to talk us through this one?
Great silence.
I've taught through two.
For Getafe, the club is having one of the best seasons in recent memory. They currently sit third in La Liga with dreams and aspirations of reaching the Champions League as each week goes by. But Sevilla seek the Champions League spot too, as they lie fifth in the league but only 2 points behind their rivals in this match. As fourth place Atletico Madrid for sixth place Villarreal, the top end of the league could all drastically change in a massive weekend of La Liga fixtures. Getafe lost their last league match against Barcelona but won their last 4 before this. As for Sevilla, they've only won one of their last 4 matches, but can be thankful to Suso for claiming a major point last week in a 2-2 draw versus Espanyol. Both teams will desperately need a win, but Getafe could claim a draw to block Atletico Madrid from going third.
The league could completely change.
Just think you're right. Imagine Getafe and Sevilla getting to Champions League. So there's 2 teams that don't normally get into Champions League. Gladbach getting in Germany, Sheffield United getting in England. We're going to have a right Champions League next year. Can't wait.
Do you know what we all said when they came out? Like people saying Atalanta Valencia's an underwhelming tie. You wait for next season.
Wait till Sheffield United versus Getafe.
Yeah. The league, in terms of the top between 3rd and 8th, could completely change this weekend. I mean, for Real Sociedad, they must be thinking, thank God. We're not playing one of the bigger sides. Well, actually, then again, they are playing Eibar, which they're struggling right now.
No, they're not. It's been postponed.
Oh, is it being? Oh, yeah, because of the Eibar's had a couple of issues with construction like that collapse. So the pollution in the air has actually caused the games to be called off.
Oh, no.
So they can look in this situation and say that their next game is against Valencia. Tricky. But it could all change. We could potentially see Atletico Madrid drop out of the Champions League and Europa League spots completely. We could see Getafe drop from 3rd. We could even see Getafe go 5 points ahead of everyone. It's mental this season in La Liga.
It's just because you got Villarreal Atletico as well this weekend.
What a season of European football it's been.
It's been incredible.
It's been the best for entertainment in a long time.
What a season to debut the Top Corner podcast.
Yes.
To be fair,
it's all because of us.
So I'm quite annoyed at this year. There's a lack of. There's only one league to be this week, and it's the Bundesliga. See, we've not got.
We haven't even got anything on the Bundesliga.
Well, this is the thing. I'm not going to lie. There wasn't really a great deal of Bundesliga games. I was going to pick out Werder Bremen versus Dortmund because we've got one side that are doing incredible to one side which
are fighting against relegation.
Are in the relegation zone that could go down. But it's always tricky each week to pick games out because I look at teams like, obviously I've not picked out any of the Premier League ones because we've talked about Spurs and that. I mean, there's Leicester Man City, which is one that we've not talked about. Tottenham Chelsea. There's loads of games around Europe that Rowan's looking a little bit confused.
No, I would just look at it. It's 3rd versus 5th, 4th versus 6th, 7th versus 8th.
It really is a case of everything can change in the Liga in the space of a week.
That's what you want, though.
It's fascinating, and these games are going to be worth watching.
Being a neutral fan, that's what you want. You want excitement in your league. Like, Championship's always exciting because of stuff like that.
100%.
League One this year has been exciting because of that, as you said earlier. The Premier League's now getting to that point where 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. It's all getting a bit more exciting. The relegation battle's getting a bit more exciting. Title race is done, but
I mean, there is one player who I do feel like deserves a lot of credit for Getafe, and that is Jorge Molina. He is the veteran striker who is the Aduriz of Getafe. He is banging in the goals right now for the club. And
is he Spanish?
He is Spanish indeed.
Do you think he'll get a call up at Euros?
No, I think he retired.
Did he?
A couple of years ago.
And you've got Rodrigo and Alcacer. I think that'll be the one.
Yeah.
Also, you say, obviously, in the match thing, Suso was an integral part. I think. Well, I don't know why Milan kicked him out, but because he's a brilliant player. But also,
he was terrible at AC Milan.
He was good last season.
He was shocking. He was all right last season, but this season he's been woeful.
I was going to say last season he was very good.
There's a reason why they're going on a good run of form right now.
What, got rid of Suso?
It's not because of Suso.
No, but I think I'm glad he's gone back to Spain because he's a very talented player, no matter what this season said. But also, I want to give credit to Lucas Campos, who had parts in both goals as well. Him and Suso pretty much dragged Sevilla into that game.
This is the worry. Is this how the rest of the season is going to be for Sevilla? Are they going to be dragged by their players? I mean, obviously, they lost last week to Celta Vigo, who are fighting for survival themselves. They got the draw this week against bottom of the league, Espanyol. They dropped points against Alaves. The front line is incredibly weak.
Bottom of the league, Espanyol, who are facing Wolves in the Europa League.
Yeah, make sense of that one.
Yeah,
because,
exactly. That's what I was just thinking.
You can kind of see where their
So
focus is
you
lies.
think Wolves should smash him in the Europa League if he goes on? You don't think? Think so?
I think it's going to be a pretty tight one. You've got to think for Espanyol, and obviously they're looking to survive.
Imagine if they win the Europa League.
I genuinely
playing in Champions League when they're in bloody Spanish League Division 1.
They recently signed Raul de Thomas from Benfica, and he's been absolutely flying for Espanyol. I know obviously they're still bottom, but I do feel like they will put up a pretty good game against Wolves.
Got a good defender as well in Espinosa. He's a decent.
Well,
he's
not bad.
He's a decent centre back.
Well, when you're bottom of the league, you can't really say.
To be fair, you say this, but we went down with Harry Maguire at the back.
That is very true.
And
but Harry Maguire wasn't found out by that point.
Yes, he was. I called him. I said, imagine Stones, right? If Stones had an upgrade, that was Maguire.
In fact, are you saying about Espinosa? I'm just going to let you know.
You're going to tell me he's been sent. He's moved, hasn't
he? He doesn't play.
He's moved. Oh, great. I knew it.
We've got a little bit of a problem there.
For God's sake.
No, go on. Who's the starting 11? I want to know.
Right.
So in terms
Rowan,
of
what are you thinking for this game?
I want to know starting 11.
Well, I'll just quickly tell you. They're starting 11 for the team. Diego Lopez in goal.
That explains why they're bottom. If they put Espinosa in, they won't be bottom, would they?
Yeah.
You know?
Diego Lopez plays in goal for Espanyol. I'll just pick out some of the bigger players. Bernardo is Brazilian centre back. Bold. He's bold, Bernardo, Brazilian centre-back.
Bold Bernardo.
Cabrera, who is the Uruguayan centre-back.
I know him.
They've got Sergi Darder, who used to play for Leon. Wu Lei, who's the Chinese signing, who's made a lot of the big name. Jonathan Cagliari, formerly of Alaves.
Ex-West Ham.
Ex-West Ham as well, yes. Vitor Sanchez, he's a Spanish midfielder. Mark Roca. They have got good players in there. Facundo Ferreira is on the bench. Matias Vargas, Argentinian winger. Andres Prieto. Is another player there.
Do you think it's a bit of an anomaly season? Like, should they be down there? Do you think?
How many points of the relegation thing?
In relegation-wise, they are only 2 points away.
Right. Yeah.
In fact, we're saying Celta Vigo. They are only surviving by goal difference right now. So we could see a fight between Eibar, Celta Vigo, and Espanyol could all go down. All of them, which when you look at it, you think of about Eibar. They've been incredible in recent seasons, but now they could be going down.
Let's make 2-1 to Getafe.
2-1 to Getafe. Kieren, what we're going for this one?
2-0 to Getafe.
2-0 to Getafe. By the way, Will's put big up skinhead Bernardo. You know it will. 2-0 to Getafe. Rowan?
1-0 Sevilla.
1-0 Sevilla. I'm going to go 1-1. I think it's going to be a draw for this game. Honestly,
Getafe need to win though. That's the thing.
Both teams need to win. That's the real
Espinosa. I'm fuming. I'll sign you, Espinosa.
You're buying him on FIFA now.
Come on, Espinosa. I'll sort you out.
Right, we're moving over to Turkey now. Do you know what? I'm not going to lie. I was fascinated looking at this one. The league in Super League has just gone from being, when we looked a couple of weeks ago, we were like, oh yeah, Sivasspor are flying. Well, safe to say they're not now. Fenerbahce versus Galatasaray is always a blockbuster game, and this weekend it sees the Turkish Super League Classic as they both face off against each other in a game where tensions usually flare. The league has flipped on its head at the top. Trabzonspor are now top of the league. Galatasaray are now third. They're only 2 points off the league title, while Fenerbahce have dropped to sixth. They're 6 points away from the title. If you wonder where Sivasspor are, they've dropped to 4th. So it's really, really changed. Galatasaray are on fire right now. They've got 6 wins in a row. They find themselves back in the title race. Their veteran striker, Adam Buyuk, who joined in the summer, has scored 6 goals in his last 5 games in all competitions. He's also scored in his last 5 Turkish Super League games. As for Fenerbahce, they are currently 3 games without a win. They desperately need a win to get themselves back in the title race. There's already potential talk of their manager being in a little bit of a jeopardy right now. It's crazy right now, the Super League.
I was going to say, we talk about Bundesliga, we talk about La Liga. Right, to be fair, politely, the only league in Europe that we don't need to talk about is Liga, because that's pretty much sewn up. I think all around the other leagues, you're looking...
According to Rowan.
Yeah, you're looking at the... Yeah, Marseille going to make a comeback, but...
Oh, no, all right. If Marseille win the league, you all owe me 3 packs of Quality Streets.
Right. You can dye your hair back if Marseille win league.
It's going to go anyway.
Anyway, you dye it back ginger then.
Back to Fenerbahce and Galatasaray. I think, like... You look at Austria, the league was sorted out last week, but it was tight up until that point. You now look at the Super League, it was tight up until that point. It's nice to see.
It's so entertaining right now because, I mean, Trabzonspor have been on an incredible run. We talked about them a couple of weeks ago when they faced Fenerbahce, I believe. Yeah. Alexander Solov's been flying there. Vedat Mariki, one of the standout players for Fenerbahce this season, has been linked to a couple of teams abroad. And for Galatasaray, it's a very, very different team to what we expect before. A lot of players have moved on, but you look at the team right now. Ryan Donk, he's playing centre-back.
God.
Jean Seri of Fulham, who's on loan right now at the club. He plays there. Mario Lemina as well, formerly of Southampton.
What a midfield three.
Sofiane Feghouli, formerly of West Ham.
What a midfield 2 and 3 that is.
Lemina and Seri.
And Donk behind him.
On paper, say Donk playing centre-back?
Ryan Donk is indeed playing centre-back. On paper, Lemina and Seri is a good midfield. On paper.
I don't know why Southampton loaned him out. I liked Mario Lemina.
He's a weird
Did you guys remember in the summer when he put that compilation of himself together and to try and get Man United to sign him?
Yeah.
He was linked to United and Arsenal, though.
I mean, even on the bench right now, the players on the bench, of course, as we know, Radamel Falcao, he can't get into the side right now just because of how Adam Buyuk's been playing. He's been absolutely incredible recently. They've got Selçuk Inan, one of their veteran players, Younes Belhanda. He doesn't get into the side. Even Florian Andun, the Brighton striker who's on loan at Galatasaray, can't get into the side at all just because of how good Buyuk's playing.
Right, I'm going to go 2-1 to Galatasaray.
2-1 to Galatasaray.
Yeah.
I'm going to give another thing here, right? This game, on paper, in the Super League, is pretty big, right? They love a red card in this game. In fact, in terms of red cards, I believe there's been 4 red cards in the last 5 fixtures. Against each other. So I'm going to give you a bonus point here. Right.
Are we guessing who's getting sent off?
I want you to predict how many red cards there'll be in this game.
Oh, no, don't predict how many. Predict a player.
Predict a player to get sent off.
Yeah, I like this game.
Right, okay.
Oh, you don't play?
2-1 Donk.
Right, okay, so...
it for me. That was my player.
Kieran D, what we're going for this one? Fenerbahce, Galatasaray.
2-1 Galatasaray, Donk.
2-1 Galatasaray, and then the red card...
Rydonk. Big Rydonk.
Will be Donk.
Let me just double check something. Go to someone else, can I'm going to make a prediction based on the player. I just need to check it starting line.
Rowan, what are we predicting for this one? Fenerbahce versus Galatasaray.
2-1.
Fenerbahce.
2-1 Galatasaray.
2-1 Galatasaray.
Copying me.
Why did you go 2-1 Galatasaray?
Yeah.
Fine, 1-1.
1-1.
0 red cards.
And then no red cards.
You don't get an extra point for no red cards.
0.
What?
I think he should.
No, I will give it him.
Okay.
No red cards.
Because I'm going to go with no red cards as well.
So you're going to go no red cards. What are you predicting for the score?
You have to get the score right though to get the no red card bit.
Wait, what?
No. If they get the red cards, they can get a point for it.
No red card.
Oh, ruined.
And I'm going to go with 2-1 to Fenerbahce.
2-1 Fenerbahce. No red card.
No red card.
And I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw in my game. And I'm going to give a red card to Seri.
Oh, God.
I think Seri's going to get wound up.
I was going to predict to see if Martin Skirtle plays.
Lemina. Skirtle's not there anymore.
I was going to say because he moved in.
In fact, he's at Istanbul Basaksehir here.
Yeah, I was going to say because I remember because if there's a guy I bank on a red card in a big game, it's Skirtle.
Yeah, you know what he's like when it comes to big games. So that is in terms of the big games, the points on the board. However,
in fairness, yeah, you say big games, but these are 2 decent Europa League. It's got nothing on. It's got
Let
nothing
him
on
finish.
Melbourne City.
I've not even finished yet. We're still waiting on that. It doesn't get played for another 3 or 4 weeks.
Oh my god.
We move over to the double pointed games. As you know, last week we picked out 2 games for double points. We're doing the same again this week. Now, these games are big in the context of the situation, but in terms of the team names, they're not as big as the rest we've talked about. I've chosen this week for our double point games. Games from the Europa League.
Sorry,
so
Mitchell Duke scored at the weekend.
So if that was the game,
Newcastle Jets.
So basically, I picked out 2 of the lower, lesser-known games in the Europa League this weekend, with very limited context to the situation. Of course, as you know, these are knockout games, so everything is on the line for both sides. We start off with Apoel versus FC Basel. FC Basel were able to escape a tricky Europa League group, including Getafe, Krasnodar, and Trabzonspor, by finishing top of Group C, while Apoel finished second in Group A, including a massive 1-0 win over the group leaders Sevilla. Only Sevilla finished with a better goal difference of +11 at the end of the group stages than FC Basel did with +8. While Apoel, they've won their last 3 Europa League group stage games to reach the round of 32. That's as many wins as they had in their previous 17 games in major European competition. Boys, what are we feeling for this one, Kieran D? Apoel versus FC Basel.
1-1.
1-1.
Oh, you are a muppet.
Kieran L.
That was my prediction.
Go for it.
I'm going to go 0-0.
0-0. You can.
I wanted 1-1. Like in my head during the week.
You can have 1-1.
No, I don't want to share.
You
it.
sure?
Yeah, no.
Rowan, what we're going for this one?
1-0 Apoel.
1-0 Apoel. Do you know what? You took the one I was going to go
Go
for.
for it, Joe.
But I'm going to
Go
go
for
1-0 Basel. 1-0 Basel for that one.
Basel.
I think it'll be a tight game, but I'm not going to lie. Apoel, they're one of those sides you look at them and you think they could get a result. You know, when you look at like a Ludogorets and you think, you know, some days they can get good results, some days they'll just get absolutely battered. Chris Welch has put Apoel 1, Basel 1. And he put for
Chris,
the last game, he put love that from Rowan for the Fenerbahce Galatasaray. He said he's going for 1-1 for the Fenerbahce Galatasaray game. We then move over to the other Europa League match that I've picked out this weekend. This week is FC Copenhagen versus Celtic. Now, the last time these two sides faced off against each other was in the 2006-2007 Champions League group stages, in which both sides won one of the games against each other. Celtic's last away win against Danish opposition was back in September 1983. Since then, they haven't won the 2 competitive visits they've had, while Copenhagen, however, have only won 1 of their last 7 Europa League games at home, excluding qualifiers. Their last win was beating FC Lugano 1-0 on match day 1 at home.
What the bloody hell did they make it out of the group then? They must have had a lot of draws.
Yes.
All away wins.
They did indeed. Well, I'm not going to lie, I've picked out a couple of stats there that might throw you off the scent. It kind of makes both teams look pretty bad on paper. But FC Copenhagen versus Celtic, what are we going for this one?
2-1 Copenhagen.
2-1 Copenhagen. Obviously, this is a massive chance for Celtic here. I think this is the first time Celtic have got into the knockouts for a couple of years now.
1-0 Celtic.
1-0 Celtic.
Be a big away goal if they score.
2-1 Copenhagen. I'm going to go
2-1 Copenhagen. We like that. There we go. I am going to go for a 3-1 to Celtic. I think
big smash and grab.
I think the atmosphere is going to be lively. I know obviously they're away from home, but looking at the comments, Gareth Bonaldo's going Celtic 2-0. Will's going 2-0 Apoel. Cyprus away is tough. And Chris has put Copenhagen 0, Celtic 2. So it's safe to say people are going
very mixed.
Celtic
very
beat
mixed.
Lazio away. I mean, who'd have predicted that?
I mean, it was a tricky group for Celtic. Stad Rennes in there, Lazio, Cluj, who, again, one of those sides where you look at them on paper and you think, well, they're not going to be the easiest to beat. So that is the weekly roundup for this week. Lots of points available on the board. I mean, if any of us two can get the fact that there's been a red card in the Fenerbahce Galatasaray game.
If we get the player, I think that...
Yeah. We should win it all together, to be honest. But anyway, right, it's time for the one of the final sections of the show. Rowan becomes quizmaster, and this time it's a Champions League special. It's the finale feature. Let's go for it.
Quizzical, I wanna get quizzical. Let's get into quizzical. Are your answers gonna be right? I wanna hear your answers all night. Let's quizzical. This isn't the lyrics.
So we're at the finale feature. I love it. It's
love it
always
so much. It's
good, isn't it?
brilliant.
It's
Do you know what
great.
amazes me?
I
You
need a-
can
I need a
transition back
pen.
just going, okay, let's get it. Like, that's not the best thing ever.
It's great. So we're
Oh,
at
yeah,
the
it's the only
finale
pens.
feature. If you've never watched the podcast before, thank you very much for joining. If you are new, do leave a like and subscription as always. We do this podcast every single week, 1:15. If you've never watched the show before, for the finale feature, Rowan takes the role as quizmaster. He asks us a couple of questions, and this week he's gone down the route of the Champions League. So
I
Rowan,
have.
take it away.
Oh, you give me
Right.
some space this week, Joshua. Thank you.
It's great, isn't it?
It's obviously the round of 16. We've got the round of 16. So I've got 2 ties from last year and 1 tie
Oh.
from a random year that I will give him. So we'll go for the first one. I want the starting 11 from Roma in Roma versus Porto, again where Roma were winning the first leg and then Porto came back and won 3-1. I don't want Porto's, I want Roma's starting 11. I'll give you the
last
date. It's-
season.
Yeah, 6th of March 2019.
Right. Okay.
If you want to play along at home as well, put it in the comments, and Rowan will tell you whether you're right or wrong.
They played a 3-4-3 or a 5-2-3.
Ah, right.
I think they had they had 2 fullbacks.
So if you want to play along at home,
5-2-3.
put them in the comments, and Rowan
I
will
will read
answer.
them.
The question is, how long have we got in terms of
You've got
time-wise?
until 46.
Right, so we have
47.
got.
and a half.
I think 46.
Yeah, I want the Roma team. You don't need the subs like we normally do.
I'll be honest. I don't even think these players play for Roma. I'm just tagging
Honestly,
names.
same.
I just want the Roma team. Let me load up YouTube.
Right, so we have
You
got
cool.
a minute and a half. Are we going for 46, Rowan?
Yeah, just whenever you feel like you're done.
nice.
When
Just
I'll
We'll
be
be here
honest,
for a couple
I
of
won't be
hours.
done for a while. So.
Right, so he
got
played.
6.
Thank you, Chris. Some would
yeah,
say the voice of an angel.
Yeah.
Right, so I've got a goalkeeper,
Someone said that.
centre back, left back.
I do love that everyone just everyone just talks to themselves.
Was it
Let us know in the
was
chat.
it 3 at the back? Did you say?
3-4-3
3 or 5, so it's
5-2.
3 or 5.
You never know.
Right. Okay.
I'll tell you what, it was a 5 at the back because they had
Five-
full
five at
backs,
the
but they played it the way they've shown.
Don't tell me that
Nice.
because last week you didn't tell me midfield. Matuidi was being deployed as a left midfielder.
I knew that as well. I've only
Right.
got 6. I can't think of anybody else.
so
Just let me
centre-back,
know in the
centre-back,
chat.
all
If
right.
you guys don't want to guess, just
Hey,
just
I've got
watch
8,
along.
yeah.
You alright?
Put him
I
there.
don't think so.
Put
I
him
can't remember
there.
who played in defence. I've got
Got
2
him there.
defenders.
Anyone else just torn in terms of who plays
1,
for
2,
Roma?
3, 4, 5,
Yes.
6, 7, 8, 9.
I've
Okay.
got
30
6.
seconds.
Um,
30 seconds.
I've got 6, and I'm pretty sure one of them went there last
He
year.
definitely played.
No,
He plays.
I can't remember his name.
Right, we're just going with that. We're stopping on 9 because
20
I
seconds.
can't remember his name. I
20
can't
seconds?
remember his name.
Oh,
I can't remember his name. And it's killing me.
15 seconds.
Oh, what's his name? Oh,
I forgot his name. I
Oh,
forgot his
no.
name.
I don't think he played, but we'll put
What's
him in.
his name?
Oh, is that 11 players or is that
Can't
10?
remember.
5
that's one.
seconds left.
I've only got
Pens.
7.
4, 6,
Get your
8.
pens or your hands away from the keyboard. Josh, hands away from the keyboard.
I got 11.
Okay.
I've bottled it.
I got 11
I've only written
players.
7 down. I don't
2,
think one
4,
of them
You
played
ready?
6,
last year.
8. Go on then.
Goalkeeper. We'll start with Olsen.
Yes,
Oh,
get it.
no.
I put Paul Lopez.
So did I.
I put also.
Ready? Manolas.
Yep.
Nope.
Yep.
Juan.
Yep.
Juan
Juan Jesus.
Yeah, I got that.
Marcano.
Oh,
Nope.
bloody Fazio didn't play.
Karsdorp.
Oh, I put
That was it.
Florenzi.
Karlsdorp.
Kolarov.
Yep.
Oh, I put Florenzi.
Enzonze.
I didn't.
De Rossi.
Yep.
Zaniolo.
Yep.
Dzeko.
Yep.
Perotti.
I got
Alright.
2.
Well, that was disappointing.
Well, we bottled it on this one, boys.
yeah,
It's
that,
all
was,
right.
that was disappointing.
How many did you guys get?
I got 4.
I got 2.
2 seconds, let me count. Will you repeat it, please?
Hold up. What did you get,
Zaniolo,
Kieran?
Dzeko, De Rossi, Manolas.
Absolutely
I'll
smashed it,
repeat
boys.
second, Kieran. Josh.
I got 4. Just looking, Chris Welch has put
5.
Olsen, Manolas, Swan Jesus, Meccano, Karsdorp, De Rossi, and Zonzi, Kolarov, Dzeko, Perotti, Florenzi. Florenzi didn't play.
No,
I
Florenzi.
Florenzi came off the
I
bench.
put Florenzi down.
We'll put
Kieran?
Olsen, Kolarov,
5.
Jesus, Fazio, Manolas, Florenzi, Radja,
I put Roger as
Under
well.
De
Oh, I didn't put Radja.
Dzeko,
I don't
El
think you were
Shawari as
in
well.
the team.
Radja was at Inter, wasn't he, at the time?
Yeah.
Yes.
Last
Florenzi
year.
did come off the bench, so did Schick and Cristiano.
I had Schick in my start.
There we go. So what's the
I had
scores?
Spinazzola.
What's the scores on the doors so far then, Rowan?
I'm not
Have a
telling
look in.
you.
I've got 2. You got 4. He's got 5.
There we go. Thank you, Kieran.
I also
alright.
had,
I was going to let it be a surprise.
Who
but-
needs Rowan?
Fazio start.
I was going to leave it as a surprise. Okay, the next fixture, the 5th of March 2019. Ajax's
Oh, no.
come back against Real Madrid in the second leg.
Right.
They beat them 4-1. Are you ready? I want the Ray Ajax starting 11.
Oh,
I actually
the Ray Ajax.
put us off the scent there, didn't you?
Yeah,
Who are Ray
Ajax
Ajax?
starting 11. They played a 4-2-3-1. Let's get
Oh, what is his name?
Quizzical.
That's it.
Right, so that's 2 centre backs.
Centre backs.
That's
Two centre backs.
That's 2 centre backs. 2 centre backs. I got that right.
Gareth,
okay.
that was a tough one. I only Jack on
So
Used the team Liverpool beat 5-2, hoping it didn't change. Yeah, you were close, Will.
That's what I used as well. Will.
Florenzi started on the bench. I'm just looking at the predictions.
Centre
for
backs.
games.
I got 2 centre backs.
Have
I
you
like
got all the
that.
centre backs?
I got my centre
Mohamed
backs.
went FC Basel 2. Well, I'm guessing 0. Gareth Bernardo went
Centre
Celtic
backs?
to
I
win,
got my
Will
centre
went
backs.
2-0.
I like that.
I've only got 1,
Well,
2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
well.
7, 8 players. Who plays up
Um,
front for Ajax?
Yeah, let us know again.
yes.
Ajax starting 11 when they got the 4-1 comeback over Real Madrid.
Got 9.
There's no.
What's going to annoy me is that I'm going to miss someone really obvious.
I've got 10.
It's going to annoy me.
Right, so that's him as well.
I need one more.
1,
No.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right, we've got.
He only signed this season.
What time?
so it's
How long
not
we got?
him.
We've got till 50.
You got
So
till
I've got
50.
50
Yeah,
seconds.
so I got a minute
So I've got
basically.
50 seconds.
I need
52,
one
51.
player.
Midfield.
He didn't play. He didn't play. No
Character
chance.
can go route.
What are you saying?
I don't know.
He definitely didn't
Oh,
play.
no, he wasn't there. Was
I just need one. I think I need an attacker.
Just saying, was you talk about Quincy Promes then?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought about that. He's not. He wasn't
He
there.
wasn't there, was he? He was
30 seconds left.
Oh,
I'm
do you know
missing
what?
one
Thank you to
player.
everyone that stayed in for the streaming time. Like and subscribe, obviously. We do put more content out on the channel, as you've probably seen.
I'm
in
quite
the
close
past
to
week.
550
Gareth
subscribers, I think.
Ronaldo.
I've bottomed this.
I'm struggling here. I've
I've
got
got
one
10.
more player.
Yeah,
Gareth
so
been-
have I.
I'll put him in, and I don't think he was there, but I'll put him in.
Yeah, I think I've done the same as what you've done.
All the ones you've said, you got correct.
Wow.
Ooh,
I mean,
well done.
apart from the goalkeeper, but you've just spelt it wrong, that's all.
Right.
Chris Welch.
We're done, mate, by the way.
We're done,
Oh, we're done, sorry.
Pens are
I'm
down.
just reading the comments.
There we go.
I'm just reading the comments. Chris Welch, I think you more or less got it all right. Neil.
There you go. Fair
Come
play,
on,
Chris
then.
Welsh.
I've got 10 so
Alright.
far.
I've
Start
got
off with
11
10
players.
players.
but
Stand
we
off with the
didn't play.
goalkeeper. Onana.
What's
Yeah.
his name?
Mazraoui.
Mazraoui.
No.
Mazraoui. Sorry.
Did anyone else get Mazraoui or just me?
No.
No.
I didn't
Delete.
get
Get in there, Mazraoui.
Delict.
Yep.
Daily Blind.
Yep.
Tagliafico.
I put Veltman. That's what I put.
Tagliafico.
Yep.
Yeah.
I got Tagliafico, yeah.
Sean.
Yeah.
Oh, Sean last season. He scored that brilliant free
Have a
kick.
bit of that.
He scored that free kick.
De Jong.
Yeah.
That's what I
I
missed.
didn't even put him in.
I
Frankie.
put Frankie.
That's what I missed.
Didn't even put him in.
That's the true I've missed.
David Neres.
Yeah.
Donny van der Beek.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hakim Ziyech.
Yeah.
And Dusan Tadic.
Yeah, that's
How
what I
did I
missed.
forget Frankie de
Oh,
Jong?
bloody
I
hell.
got 9.
7.
9.
Hold up. Kieran got 9.
I missed Frankie
Josh?
de Jong as well.
7.
Decent.
Do you know what's annoying?
I just completely forgot
Kieran?
that he played. He got
El-
9, he said.
9.
I'm missing. How I forgot Lasse Sean when he scored that beauty of a
Right.
free kick.
That's what I remember.
Right.
Justin spot Haaland. No will be in Euro 2020 confirmed.
Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's manager.
Right, you ready?
Go on.
Is this the last one, by the way?
Yes.
Yes.
Right.
So it's
Okay.
the big boy.
The big
boy.
daddy.
Here we go.
16th of March, 2016.
Oh, Christ.
He's 16.
The first leg between Bayern and Juventus was 2-2. Bayern then went out and won 4-2 in dramatic fashion, with extra time goals. Can you name me both starting 11s and all the subs that was used?
No, I can't. Politely.
I always do it for the big one, so I want the starting 11s of both teams and I want the subs. I can tell you the formations. So Bayern played a 4-1-4-1, and Juventus played a 4-5-1. Yep, let us know in the chat.
Good,
what
I
you
like
think.
this one. It's a
I
good
want
one.
Bayern versus Juventus 20.
I hate it.
Bayern versus Juventus 2016.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
2016.
Right, okay, that's 10 of them.
No, will be confirmed.
2016.
Shout out Jesse Lund.
I need one more.
Van der Beek or Onana, Van der Beek. I do like your spelling of Onana.
What year is it?
Because he put
2016?
Manana.
Yeah, 2016.
2016, yeah. There it was.
2016-17. No, 2015-16. It's that, innit? 2015-16.
Yeah, it'll be 15-16 because
Right.
Yeah.
yeah,
Right, so...
the way it works.
Yeah, the 16th of March 2016.
Who played in net for Juventus?
Not telling you. Bayern 4-2 against
That would
Juventus.
defeat the
Oh,
purpose
go on,
of
tell
the
us,
game.
Rowan.
So let us know in the chat if you want to have a couple of
Who
guesses.
played in net for Juventus, man?
Jocelyn, we'll buy tickets for Wembley if Norway beat Serbia and Israel.
Sorry,
Scotland.
what did Juve play?
Juve played, I can tell you in 2
He
seconds.
says 3 at the back. Oh,
I
God.
think.
No,
No.
4-5-1.
4-5-1. Nice.
Yeah, that was the thing. I was looking at
7, 8, 9, 10.
Mandanda is Marseille's keeper, Gareth. Jocelyn, I was looking at tickets to go to the Aviva Stadium in Dublin for Euros. I'm still looking. I don't know who would play.
That's his name.
No, I think some of the games were announced. I was looking to go for the Six Nations as well. Everyone's put the guesses in, let me tell you. Will. Will has gone for your Bayern team. He's gone for that.
He's going to be in there, isn't he?
You got the goalkeeper right. Both of you did, Chris and Will.
1, 2, 3, 4.
You got
5, 6,
another
7,
player.
8.
You got your second player right. Chris got all the defence right. Will got 2 of the defenders right. 3 of the defenders right.
Who played in net for bloody Juventus, Josh? Tell me.
And then you did
Gareth Barry.
Gareth Bonaldo played in it.
Gareth Ronaldo.
I think Chris, you nearly got it all right, and Will, you got the.
Oh, yes, that's the name of striker. There we got there in the end.
Do you know what?
Right, I'm gonna go. No, I don't think.
I'm just gonna have to sacrifice and admit that this is
Gareth-
not my round.
Gareth Ronaldo, 11 Lewandowski's versus 11 Gianluigi Buffons. Welcome to my FIFA experiment. I'd love to see that. I'd love like.
I've got 10 of the Juventus.
I'd
players,
love for just Buffon
1, 2,
just to
3,
play
4, 5,
in
6,
attack
7,
for
8,
once,
9. I need the goalkeeper.
just to
for
end his
Juventus.
career. You've got 20 seconds.
I've only got 9 for Juventus.
I've resigned to the fact that I have bottled this final round.
20 seconds left. It's not even 20, it's now it's 10. 10 seconds left. Well done, Will and Chris. You more or less got them correct.
I guess I'm gonna have to forfeit at 10.
Jocelyn,
feel
yeah,
like
they
prime
released.
Tottenham Hotspur bottling it over here.
Jocelyn, yeah, they released more tickets for the nations that are going to play soon.
Sorry,
Yeah, I
we're
know.
done.
That's it, time up.
Yeah, we're done.
There we go,
Just
right.
reading comments. I know, I'm going to look for tickets because flights aren't actually expensive from here. It's like £100.
Can't remember.
So
who
we'll wait and see.
Juventus
There we go.
goalkeeper
Right.
was.
Okay, we'll go. Right, ready?
It's
Start.
short, Chesney.
Did you do
It's
subs, by the
bloody
way?
Chesney, innit?
Stop.
Let's go for it.
Did you do subs, by the way?
I did 2
Yeah.
subs
I did
for
one
Bayern
sub.
Okay,
Munich.
that's right. Right, we'll start off with the Bayern starting 11. Neuer.
Yep.
Lahm.
Yes.
Kimmich.
No.
Yes.
Benatia.
No.
Alaba.
Yes.
Xavi Alonso.
No.
Douglas Costa.
Oh no.
Thomas Muller.
Oh, that's who I forgot. How could I forget him?
Vidal.
No.
Ribery.
Yeah, I got him.
And Lewandowski.
Nice. 7.
1, 2, 3, 4. I got. Oh, who was on the bench, by the way?
I'll do it after.
All right.
So, you got 4. Josh.
7.
I'm ready to see how many. Kieran.
6.
Oh my days. Why did I forget Muller? Why did Robin not play?
It's top at the top because he didn't. Okay, we'll go to Juventus starting 11 now. You ready?
Buddy Chesney.
Buffon.
Yes.
Yes.
Lichtsteiner.
Nope.
Everyone got.
I had Danny Alves.
As in everyone, as
I
everyone
put
heard.
Danny Alves.
Yeah.
Barzagli.
I got
Yeah,
that.
got that.
Benucci.
I
Got
got
that.
that.
Evra.
Didn't get
Oh, I
that.
put Alexandro.
Quadrado.
Didn't
Nope.
get that.
Kadira.
Nope.
Didn't get that.
Hernandez.
Nope.
Didn't get that.
Pogba.
Yes.
got that.
Sandro.
Oh yes.
Alexandro.
Yes.
Get in there.
And Alvaro Morata.
I thought it was Tevez. 1, 2,
Okay.
3.
I
Just-
put Higuain.
I got 4.
I put
take that.
Mandzukic, but I'm not telling you I'll put as subs.
Josh.
I put
6.
I put Mandzukic for Bayern Munich.
Yeah.
Kieran.
5.
I got 4.
Right.
I think I might
The
be last.
subs are going to be very important.
I've only got 2, so this is good.
Yeah, I've got 2 as well.
How many of you got Josh?
I've got 3.
And one of them played for Real Madrid at this time, so it's
Right,
definitely
okay.
not right.
Are you ready? We'll start with the Bayern subs.
Sorry, I've got. How many do you need for subs? Could you
6.
Oh, sorry, I've got 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
And how many
5
have
for
you got?
Bayern and 4 for Juventus.
You got 5 subs for Bayern?
Yeah.
That's illegal.
No, it's not. 7
only-
subs.
You have to do 3 subs.
The ones
okay?
that
Oh,
got
are you
subbed
doing
on.
3 subs?
Yeah, like we
The ones
normally
that
do.
got subbed
Because
on.
he just went 7.
I know, just.
He
I
just
meant-
said 7.
No, the 3 subs you get brought that you can bring
Yeah,
on.
no, but you've got to think, right, in the context of when you say subs, do you mean subs that you brought on or subs that
Oh,
just
sorry,
were
I
on
mean
the
subs
subs
at the brown
bench?
like we normally
I
do.
thought we always did that.
We always do.
I thought we did subs we brought on all the time.
That's why I've only written
I'll give you the time now to remove.
Right, I'll remove
the ones that he does.
Well, you just said
Right.
5. I was like, that's not possible.
Move
Well, I thought it meant 5 for the thing.
And I'll
Yeah,
move
we normally do 3
him.
subs.
Yes, 3 subs
Don't
brought
we?
on, yeah.
I'm not going insane here.
Tony
Move.
Kroos definitely played for Real Madrid at this time.
Right, there you go. Done. Got him. I've got
We
3.
normally do 3
That's
subs
3.
each, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we
that's
do.
all right.
Okay,
We're all good then.
ready? Bayern.
Yep.
Thiago,
I had him as starting.
Bernat, and Koeman.
I put Claudio Pizarro. For
Did
some
you
reason.
take any of them off?
No, I didn't have any of them.
All right.
Go on, who do you have now? I'm just interested.
I had Pizarro and Kroos.
I fucked it. Stark, Wagner, Goretzka.
Oh, wow.
Wagner, bring on Wagner.
Bring on Wagner, innit? big
Bring
man.
Sandro
Big Sandro
Guy-
Wagner.
Well, I've lost.
You don't understand, but this is big for 2 of you in this room.
That's you two.
Juventus subs.
You too.
Right, you subs. You ready?
Yeah.
Straro. Sturaro.
No, we know Stefano
Yes,
Straro.
Right, no, it's on Pereira.
Andreas.
No, Roberto.
Roberto. Mandzukic.
I
Okay,
thought
Kieren.
you could buy him.
Kieran D, did you get any of them?
No.
Kieran L, how many did you get?
I had Mandzukic starting, so none.
Josh.
Mandzukic is a sub.
Oh, Josh has nicked it.
Do you know what I had as a sub? I had Tevez and Higuain as my subs.
I put Tevez as playing.
In 3rd place is Kieran Dillon.
Played, boys. Take 3rd.
Not bad.
Bronze
not bad.
trophy, we take those. I won last week, and I don't need to win this week.
I feel like you might have still won it.
No, I don't know. It
You
depends on
two
the-
keep talking.
I just feel like I might have flopped. You know, the ones beforehand,
No,
and I've
because
come back
Do you know what
here.
it was? Towards the end, though, you picked up a lot of 1-pointers. Do you know
Yeah.
where you'd like the last 3? I think you've had 1.
Do you know what? It could even be a draw. Who knows? At the end of the day, team of the week team of the week's out in 30 seconds. By the way,
I'm on the Twitter.
He's
I'll
on
get
it.
there. I'm on the Twitter.
I'll get the Twitter up so then I can put it on the screen as well.
Go on,
But if you are new to the channel, as always, do leave a like and subscription. Loads of content to come over the next week. Of course, the next program is the NFL.
Might not be due to your project tomorrow.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So there might not be an NFL
Yeah,
call
it's just
tomorrow.
due to commitments that other members have got. That's the only problem.
No, good point. So we'll probably be back on Friday for Sports Day then.
Yeah.
Which will have a
be
lot to
fair,
talk about. I think.
The only reason we probably miss it this week is because of what's going on. Like there's other
Other
commitments.
commitments going on so
Do you
far.
want to do team week or
While
do you want
we
to do the
wait.
final question?
Go for
first?
the team of the
Go
week.
on, I've
Go
got
on.
it.
Let me save the image and I'll put it up on the screen. It
Yes,
looks
please show me. Just
pretty tasty.
Please.
Right.
Where
do
is
you
it?
want me to go?
Oh, he's not in it.
Can I
oh
talk?
Oh no.
Right, stop.
Can I talk through it, or are you just going to
No, go
make
for it.
noises, Kieran?
I mean, if you want me to.
Neuer, 90 rated. Kamil Glick. Klosterman as a centre-back with 88 pace. Maguire, 86. Gerard Moreno, 87. Milinkovic-Savic, 86. Nicolas Pepe, 86. Thomas Partey, 86. Striker Heung-min Son, 90. Bergwijn, 85. A left-wing Dybala at 90. And then on the bench, any standouts, there's a Carlos Tevez. Flashback.
Suso.
Suso, the right midfielder. Hamdalla's got another inform. And Herele, is that a right back? Yeah, the centre back from Nice. And Vegas as well.
So how many of them did you get right, Josh?
And I got
Gael Kakuta.
1,
Moreno.
2, 3,
Decent
4,
stat, like
5,
range.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10,
11.
11,
Right, okay.
12.
That's not bad to be
Right.
fair. Right, I've helped him on this.
We need some dramatic music.
Wiggly.
Because we've got a debate.
Right.
Okay.
I
In
helped-
first,
I helped him.
in
with it.
first place is Josh and Kieran L. We gotta have debate.
What?
We're debating about who
Tiebreaker.
won.
We're debating.
It is a tiebreaker.
tiebreaker.
That's why I wanted
boys.
some dramatic
That,
music.
that point
We had
from
dramatic
Josh,
music.
That
Debate.
point from Josh is a.
That music, that Mandzukic.
Just saved you.
That Mandzukic might have just saved
Just
me.
let us know in the
Go on,
chat.
Let's do it.
Equaliser for you, mate.
Right, let us know in the chat.
Right.
I'm gonna name you the past 5 Champions League finals.
Right. Okay.
I want you to tell me which got the highest attendance.
Okay.
Oh,
I
that's a
like
good one,
that.
I
That's
like
a
that
great
Thank
one.
you, that was me.
Okay.
That was me who thought of that
I
one.
like that one
Right.
too. Right. Okay.
Silence. Liverpool 2, Tottenham Hotspur 0. Real Madrid 3, Liverpool 1. Real Madrid 4, Juventus 1. Real Madrid 1, Atletico Madrid 1. Penalties. Barcelona 3, Juventus 1. Can you tell me which game had the highest attendance? I would give you the stadiums, but I think that is probably
Straight
too
shout
much.
out.
Is it just me, or is the one that's in your head that you think it could be that, but then it feels too obvious?
You know
to be
what?
that?
Write down your answers, and then I'll look at them and I'll reveal it.
Is it just me that feels like there's one that stands out that you think it could be that?
I'll
but then
repeat
it just
again.
feels too
Obviously, in
obvious?
chat, let us know what you think had the highest attendance.
Do you know what?
Liverpool 2, Tottenham 0, Real Madrid 3, Liverpool 1, Real Madrid 4, Juventus 1, Real Madrid 1, Atletico 1, Barcelona 3, Juventus 1.
Oh, Natalie Imbruglia. Nothing's right.
Nothing's right, I'm torn.
Thank you.
You've used that too many times now.
You do realise I'm just going to use it every time I'm saying the word torn.
Oh, I don't know. There's one in my head where I'm like,
Do you know what?
surely.
I've just gone with my gut said one thing, so I went with it from the start.
I'm just going to look.
Right, okay.
Do you want Josh to show me it? So right.
Oh, I'm so Natalie Imbruglia about the whole situation.
They ain't gone for the same answer, have they?
So,
They've gone for the same answer, haven't they?
Did we?
they've both gone for Real Madrid versus Atletico.
For God's sake, man.
Well, I think
No. Write down the attendance. The closest wins. Don't get annoyed. You both wrote the same answers.
I thought we could just share the winnings.
No,
Wasn't that? It was the second highest, wasn't it? That one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before was the one.
Barcelona, Juventus.
The one in San Siro, I think it was.
Do you know what? At first I thought that the Liverpool Spurs one just stood out because it's Liverpool
But it
Spurs.
was in the Milensky
But
Stadium.
yeah, it was in Atletico Madrid.
Why have I got a
that was
note?
the fire.
I've got a
It's in
note that
500.
just says Pits.
I would have thought it was that one. That
Yeah.
Don't
Until
know
I saw
Right,
it.
I've got a number down.
I have, but I don't
Let
even
me have a
know-
look what you wrote.
I mean, I almost put million.
Wait, hold up. Right. Kieran
That didn't look
Low-key,
enthusiastic.
if we actually just put the same attendance.
Let me have a look.
No, we definitely haven't, mate.
Right.
Come on.
This would be funny as hell if you have.
Right, this is tense now.
Let me have a look what it actually was.
Just quick question: did you put a round number?
No.
Oh right, okay. Well, I
Is it
did.
this one?
I put a round.
Tell you what, I'll put a round number.
That was the highest, wasn't it?
Right. I've got a round number.
Okay.
So you both got it right with the highest. It was the highest.
It was the
It was
highest.
the highest.
I thought you just said it wasn't.
Obviously, me and Rowan can't see
I didn't
properly.
say that. I just said you got it correct.
No, he's.
The tense music is on.
All right. Okay.
Is it debate again?
No, it's.
All right. Okay. Right. Kieran, what did you put?
73,000.
And you just okay.
Actually, originally I put 73 million, but I put an extra circle.
Okay.
I don't think that's
Josh.
70,500.
And the winner. I just have to do the maths.
I can do the maths.
The tense music goes on.
No, because
The tense music continues.
I don't want to be anticlimactic. I don't want to just say who's won. But
yeah, don't.
Low key, can I just say, is this the first time we've ever had a tie?
Yes.
Like a double tie. So we tied and then we tied
I
on.
love this music.
It's tense, isn't it?
Okay, wait.
Non-copyright tense music.
Is that what you typed in?
Yeah.
Non-copyrighted.
Right.
tense music.
Tell me when you have a verdict.
We've
and
got
I'll
the verdict. The judges have confirmed,
And who will leave?
and the winner is. I just want to check.
Oh my
What?
god, what is this?
He's the winner.
Let me have a look
Is
at
he
it.
the winner?
I don't know.
I thought he was.
That number is closer to that. That number is closer to that.
I've-
I
I'm
thought he was.
Yeah, so he's won.
That's why I've circled his name.
Why the
That's
eye?
thingy's
Should we
answer.
just agree with
Yeah,
both?
yeah. I
one?
think this should
Yeah.
just be an equal playing field, to be honest.
Right.
Great work, Josh.
Get a
Who's-
calculator.
Who's won?
Get a calculator.
No one knows.
You can't leave us hanging, Rowan.
Do you know what? Do you know?
Easiest thing to do
Do
is
you know when people
Who
say
put 73,000?
me?
And who put 7?
Who put 70,000? I don't know who it
I
could
don't
be.
know. Is it the elephant in the room?
Honestly,
Well, that's
God.
rude, all right.
See, Will's Rowan was putting music off his maths.
No, it wasn't. He can't hear the
Can't even
music.
hear the
He can't
music.
hear the music.
It was a tense situation.
Take
Yeah,
that.
I know what to do.
Right, okay.
Didn't
Let's
like
have a
it.
decision, boys. Who has won the competition?
You're hurrying us here.
This has been going on for.
Oh, look at
ages
that,
now.
maths.
But that's his.
Yeah, I know. Because I've written his name there.
Well, it's safe to say we've both won.
Yeah, I just think we
Right,
should.
and then-
the spoils should be shared.
It's
Unless I win, and then it is solely just me
Yeah.
that won. No sharing if I've won.
It's like golden balls, isn't
Yeah,
it?
literally, split or steal.
close.
Well, to be fair, mate, we've had the
It's
same
really
match.
close.
I actually
This-
now want to know how much
Right.
the person won.
It's
Someone-
separated by about 400.
Oh, bloody hell.
Someone was 1,058 off. Something was 1,442 or
Right.
something.
Sorry,
Okay.
I couldn't write it.
The winner.
Is
Bum, bum. Kieran L.
Oh!
Really?
The official attendance.
he was going to put Josh at first.
The official
I think that was
attendance.
just vendetta.
The official attendance was 71,942.
Wow.
So you know when you put
How could you?
know
How
when
could
you
he
put
have been closer?
Because I forgot who said what.
he thought that
Oh.
Josh. So until I said something, Josh was about to
I
win.
was going to have won.
So
Thank you,
so you're
Kieren.
welcome.
Bloody hell. Well,
Brilliant
there we
finale
go.
feature.
Well,
Shake me hand. I'm putting it out to
That
you.
is the finale. The shake the hand.
Ooh,
Good
very
competition. Right, there we go, boys. That is the end of the Top Corner podcast today. Thank you very much for joining us. It was a tight finale feature.
Oh,
Incredible right
Honestly,
to the end.
more intense than camping.
Absolutely intense. Join us next week where we'll have loads of talk. We've got the Champions League to talk about. We've got the Europa League. And of course, we'll have our weekly roundup and hopefully another incredibly tense finale feature because that was absolutely fantastic. So thank you very much for joining us. If you are new to the YouTube channel, do leave a like and a subscription. As always, plenty more content to come over the next coming weeks. And of course, do leave a like as well if you have enjoyed the podcast and share it around. The more people that know about it, the better. So thank you very much for joining us. Hopefully we'll see you again soon. See you next week.
See you later.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.